Good evening, people. Good evening. A lot of shit on my mind. Most niggas be shady. Most hoes is crazy. They get you caught up with babies. Do a show you gonna pay me. Ain't no ifs, ands, and maybes. I treat this bitch like a dog. I chain that hoe to a pole. Then when I get what I get from a bitch, then I roll. Them is bars. I'ma see y'all back in about 3 minutes. We're gonna get this shit started.
Whole team shining, we stars, big dipping. Get a lot of haystack gang in the sippers. Niggas ain't real, nigga. You gotta feel me, nigga. Smile in my face behind my back, you tryna kill me, nigga. You say you got beef, then what you wanna do? You screaming, fuck me, nah, nigga, fuck you. You ain't hard at me. Couple kick dough, couple robbery. Nigga get extorted, get aborted, he don't pay the fee. Posted in the north, got the 2 to 4 recipe. I be cooking chicken bit, not talking rotisserie. I got all my hater mad, I know that they sick of me. Who the fuck he think he is, motherfucker MB3? I honestly pay him no attention. They up under me. Haters call me Visa cause I'm everywhere they wanna be. Ladies, man, catch me with more honeys than a bumblebee. Say she got a husband, but she always wanna suck the D. State gang, true sipper, who these nigga wanna be. I been getting money since a younger. I been pushing peace, stay strapped. Gotta watch your back when you're in the streets. Friends turn to foes, never know who your enemy. I was in Detroit, he ain't keep the same energy. West side down the slide, I don't think he feeling me. I was on some demon time, nigga talking about killing me. There no business, let's see all that shit that you gon' do to me. Come outside, why you scared? I thought that you been a G. We don't bluff, we pulling up, we different down in Tennessee. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white square, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white square, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. I got an old school bitch, call her Aretha. Shawty so fine, shawty she a keeper. Smoke that reefer, preferred by the quarter. I do this for my kids, my sons and my daughter. Get treated like a king. Hoes call me sire. One look like Lotto, the other look like Maya. My plug, he ain't playing, he only talking the numbers. I cop it, whip it and ship it. My money coming in bundles. Different flavors of kush, orange, grape, and apple. If a nigga try me, it's gonna be a disaster. Dope money and bitches, pimp robbers and snitches. It's all in my hood, my homies say that I'm gifted, I really can't complain. Shit starting to change, a product of my environment. Tell me who can I blame? Neck like a glacier, bought my shawty a bracelet. Money go get her, that's why these niggas be hating. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok.
All right. So I've been getting emails, text messages, DMs, screenshots of other niggas telling motherfuckers to talk to me and all types of other shit. And I just like, damn, can niggas not just stop fucking with each other and move along? Because I assume that's what happened. I ain't switch up, as people can see. I ain't did shit. I just been me. So since people want to know how I feel about the situation, we're gonna go through it. We got to do a timeline. This is what people like to do. Well, starting off with the timeline, whenever he did his video saying why he had a problem with me, that's the thing North Memphis niggas don't do. Like, see, it's been 2 niggas on YouTube that have had a problem with me. Hope Pacino, a White Haven nigga, and now JJ, a South Memphis nigga. North Memphis don't do that. They had problems with me, but They didn't tell me. Everybody knew except for me. And guess what I did? The North Memphis nigga, when I found out niggas had a problem with me, I hit them up to see what the fuck was going on. I still ain't heard from neither one of them niggas. But they have went live on YouTube. But so when he did his response, I had got text and I told her I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Good. So I don't know what he said. But when they saw my community post, they was like, well, if you go live, you should at least know why he got a problem with you. And so the two things that were said to me that stuck out was it two things? Oh, he's known Joy longer than me. It's cool, I get it. I get that. I've been saying that, I said I'd ride with the T-sector if Civil War broke out. He riding with the T-4K sector. I get it. And then he also said something about I should be going after Gears or somebody. I'm gonna start with I should be going after Gears or somebody first. Sir, do you remember when we first started getting cool and you talked to me and you gave me some advice? You probably don't remember because you haven't taken your own advice. You told me, you said, Trey, don't get caught up in this bullshit and look up and be like me and be arguing with niggas 5 years later. That's what you told me. I took heed. You told me that 2 years ago. When you said it was 5 years ago for you, you've added 2 more years on to it. See, I listened. So that's why I ain't going after Gears and them. You also know for a fact, just like everybody that fuck with me, I don't be watching you motherfuckers. Y'all don't help me grow. And when I mean you motherfuckers, I mean like the ops. So like, why I wouldn't know what the fuck Gears is saying about me because I don't watch Gears and I don't be places where Gears be at. You know this for fact because when they used to send me random links to motherfuckers that niggas was beefing with at the time. I'm like, I don't watch this shit. So that clears up the I should be going after Gears. You said you've known Joy longer. True. Well, let me point out some things that Joy, who you've known longer for you, haven't done for you that I have. Because to be honest, Joy ain't did shit for you because you broke. That's it. Me. Let's see here. I think I had you on a panel with Tommy. That's me, the nigga that you ain't known long as Joy. You showed me the recording shit that we used, but I mastered it. So I was able to master that motherfucker and show you how to get your quality better, recording quality. And then I also showed you how to do auto-tune, shit you didn't know how to do before. You got up with me, a nigga that you didn't know before Joy. The nigga that you didn't know, that you hadn't known as long as Joy, allowed you to come on my platform all the time and talk shit about whoever. I don't know most of the people you talk to, so automatically I was put in a spot to where I was gonna be beefing with motherfuckers I didn't know. I didn't complain, didn't say shit. So I remember doing all of this. So when you came up there that night and I told Gabe to holler at Joy about sending a package, and you were saying, hold up, they gonna think I'm cool with you. I'm like, nigga, I ain't never said this shit to you, but okay, whatever. A nigga that you haven't known as long as Joy allows you to come on my platform and just whenever you wanted to just blah, 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 blah. Let's see here. A nigga you ain't known as long as Joy was an ear to you when you was going through your shit with your wife. And I don't break the bro code. This bro's over hoes with me. So, that's why I stayed neutral up until the point where, like, she sent the cell phone. When she sent the cell phone, that's when I was like, that fuck nigga need to die. I'm sorry, Fade. I was like, this shit too far. That's what I said. I was like, that's fucked up. She trying to ruin your life now. I literally did. Remember, wasn't I the one that called you that day when Straight Drop went live from your phone and told, like, what the fuck? I ain't know nothing. I just knew your channel was live. I had just got off the phone with you and you said you was going to work or at work. And then you was live with him on it. I called you, the nigga that you hadn't known as long as joy. Okay, what else I got? Oh, the nigga you haven't known as long as joy. Like, y'all have heard my music. I don't work with niggas that ain't PIFYO. That's because I've known that nigga for 20 years. That's all you've ever heard me do features with. He liked my music. He was like, hey, bro, hey, bro, hey, bro, let's do some songs. Just so happened he was cool with Country Thug at the time. So me, him, and Country Thug did a song. That's why you'll hear in my song where I say shout out Country Thug, JJ, and Faith, because we did song. Yeah, all of this shit. That's a nigga that you had known as long as Joy that broke what he typically doesn't do to fuck with you and your nigga. And then Country Thug can only say, I've only done that one verse for him. I've done several for you. Stay hit me up, bro. Do a verse, do a verse, do a verse, do a verse, do a verse. So a nigga you didn't know did verses for you. A nigga you didn't know let you get on my songs and put you on my album. A nigga that you didn't know got his team to play your shit every time they went live. Of course, I was on the shit, but still, your voice was getting out there. So a nigga that you didn't know before Joy, or as long as Joy, put your music in front of an audience that she didn't do, couldn't do, wasn't gonna do. She don't play your shit now. Y'all don't hear me. So that's another thing that the nigga that you didn't know as long as Joy has done for you. Also, remember that time Rocho and them went live and was saying, Trey don't fuck with you because you went to Memphis and he ain't get up with you. It's not that I didn't fuck with you. The niggas was busy. You had shit going on. It wasn't that. But guess what? A nigga that you didn't know, as long as Joy, you called me, it was like, bruh, they saying you don't fuck with me and such and such. Tell them we did link up. And what I do as a nigga that didn't know you as long as Joy, I said, all right, bruh, I got you. So I rode with you. And your issue with me is you've known Joy longer and I should be talking about years. And keep in mind, this is what you've said after shit started falling together, because then you came on my show that day. Then Joy did her series of videos and you shared one of the motherfuckers. So you told me not to talk about Joy, to look wrong and all of that. And you shared a video where she was talking about me and Truth was spot. I didn't say shit, cool. Then Cynthia went live. I was up there that day, so I really wasn't paying attention to a lot of shit. Remember I said I was going to review it, and I listened. So when I heard that, I was like, hold up, if we have to, I'm like, the only person she cool with like that is JJ. So I text JJ. We got a problem? Nothing from JJ. That was like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I got to address that too. You also said you didn't respond to me because you didn't want the text messages after, like, me and Huggy had fell out way long before our meet and greet. Motherfuckers didn't know. No text messages came out. I could have put messages out where I called him a whole ass nigga, bitch ass nigga, all that shit. I ain't putting no detrimental text messages out on Joy. I don't have that reputation, sir. I put out shit on motherfuckers that think they're gonna play me, that lie on me. I don't just do random people. I'm not known for recording people, sir. That's your reputation. Even with that reputation, nigga, I still was a listening ear for you, sit on the phone, talk to you, listen to you. So I don't know about that. So, I text you, didn't get no response. So when I did go live, I relayed what I heard in that message. Y'all saying y'all was coming out. I said, come outside then. But when I spoke directly to you, I said, JJ, I didn't get in you and Faith's business. So I would expect the same respect. JJ ain't called me. JJ ain't text me. JJ got both my numbers. JJ got my email. I ain't heard from this nigga. Am I mad at him? Nope. He chose to walk away. I ain't lose nothing. I ain't been nothing but an asset. And Joy's just all Joy got is bro. And part of the reason I've been playing these old videos too, because I don't want any. There's too many motherfuckers over in J4K think they gave me life. That's why I had to show shit from 2020 before I knew any of you motherfuckers. Because I met Joy February 14th, 2021. So I didn't know any of you motherfuckers when I was already lit on Tommy shit. I was already me. I just had no subs because I wasn't going live. I was doing uploads of Tommy content, Brother Polite content, shit that I thought was interesting, shit that made me conscious. That's what I was doing, uploading that shit. But as y'all see when I was on panels, I've been lit. I've been me. Ain't no bitch or ain't no nigga made me. So anybody that's thinking that you got this off my back, we set this up for you and he rolled your back, I've been lit before I knew any of you motherfuckers. Why the fuck y'all think Huggy started coming around me? Because he saw me lit in tummy shit. So today, I got Huggy, a nigga that said he mad at me because, well, from what he said, it sounds like I ain't shout him out in the songs like I did everybody else, but Huggy wasn't coming around. Like, y'all, so she wasn't coming around. And then when he did, he was annoying as fuck, making all them noises in the background and shit, trying to be Tommy, singing songs, humming and shit. Like his form of entertainment is changing fucking avatars in the middle of the show. Bad time for that grown ass man. And then see, like, never mind, fuck this shit. So he mad at I think he's mad at me because he's state game. At the time, he was still state game. And him and JJ, oh, that's another thing. A nigga that didn't know you as long as Joy did. I let you and Huggy hash it out and I didn't be neutral anything. Nigga, I didn't know Huggy longer than you. Yet I let you come up there and shoot off. That's why the nigga mad at me now. He thought I was supposed to intervene. So I got a Whitehaven nigga mad at me because I ain't shout him out on the songs like I did everybody else that was around. And because I let JJ shoot off on him and didn't say nothing, and he stayed gay. Then you got JJ that's mad because I'm cussing my ex bitch out because she won't leave me the fuck alone. Now, JJ, you should understand cussing your ex bitch out when they don't leave you alone because you cuss Faith all up and down the street. Nigga, you gave me shit to help you talk about Faith. Nigga, like a nigga that you didn't know as long as Joy got you to go on a big ass channel to talk about Faith. But see, that's what niggas do though. That's what North Memphis niggas don't do that. They don't do that. So do I have beef with him? Nope. Am I mad at him? Nope. He made a decision. It is what it is. Life goes on. Like I said, all I've been was a attribute, and all Joy has been was, what's up, bro? What's up, bro? What's up, bro? I just need you to go back in your mind for like at least the past 4 months. Every time Truth Hurts went live, her audience heard JJ. She does good numbers, like all that she does great numbers. I can say she probably got you heard at least 500,000 times just off her intros and you playing. Especially the auto tune John I showed you how to use King JJ MoneyBoy Trey these fucking streets. Oh yeah, they love that Jeff because she played the shit out over there. That's another Jack. You asked me for a verse for her. I just did it. Nigga, I stopped my life to do a goddamn verse. As y'all see, I do music, but I don't be doing it like that. He takes music more seriously because he puts it out more than me. I don't. That's why he had to come back. Actually, that's why he had to come back in on that other jack. I was like, I wrote that motherfucker. I was like, dang, I ain't got enough fool. I was like, but I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know when I'm gonna finish these last 4 bars. You might well just come in to do it. I wrote a 12. I ain't over 16. I was real though, instead of putting it on the humbug. But again, this is me, a nigga he ain't known long as Joy, doing all of this. It is what it is though. But yeah, I'm hopefully I addressed that for everybody. Like, how do I feel about it? That's what niggas do. North Memphis. I've been telling y'all, North Memphis niggas and South Memphis niggas typically don't get along. And he falls out with everybody any goddamn way. So are y'all really shocked? And I'm just I'm a person that gets over shit. I get over shit really, really quick. I mean, it didn't affect me. Like when he didn't respond or call, I knew it was a problem. But it's fucked up that I had to listen to a decoded message from Cynthia to figure out that it was a problem. Strangely enough, I ain't seen her around since then neither. It's okay though. So we're finna get into this docu-series by J4K. Y'all can leave now. Y'all can run back and do whatever y'all need to do with that intro. I know y'all have been clamoring for it for weeks. Yeah, and that's that on that. Oh, and then I still don't even remember what it was. Just something else that happened that was going on. It made Mad just one day pop up and be like, "Oh, that's the joy community post." It was like J4K stand with whatever, did all of that shit. So yeah, it was just a whole bunch of signs that let me know he had a problem and just didn't tell me. Like, I mean, nigga said he didn't want the message to be on the internet. You couldn't say, yeah, I got a problem, no, I got a problem, or call me. You worried about that getting on the internet? Yet prior to you going live, ain't nothing been put on the internet. Ain't nothing gonna be put on the internet for what? I'm not the one that got the issue, sir. It's you. Like, all these niggas that fall out with me, y'all have an issue with me. I don't know why. And oh well, Urban said I was a bully. We just went to a hug me. Let's do him again. I didn't shout him out enough, and I let JJ cuss him out. And he was stay gay. JJ wasn't. And JJ mad of how I talked to my ex bitch and me not years. I don't even know how that makes sense, but that's life, man. That's my fucking life. My life, y'all entertain. Okay, tit for tat. They said, tit for tat, they said you was sucking my dick from the back, ma'am. What did you do? Why don't I know about this? I ain't feel it. You ain't do a good job, T. You did not do a good job. I'm just saying. Too far. It's okay. Oh shit. I'll do it though. My Titans won, we 2-2. I'm just babbling now because I'm trying to pull this shit up. My app taking forever to open. We back 2-2. We whooped ass today too. I mean, I don't know if I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I can't. My life, y'all entertainment. I don't know where that came from, but just see how my name is just always connected to shit. It's just always like I've been lit. I've been lit. I'm just saying. Hey, a little bit. They can deny it all they want to. That's why I got documentation. Can't say nothing. Like they know that even in the videos I'm playing, that Tommy they didn't even know what nigga name. That's how fresh I was. And them pounds was months apart. Jedi played it. What's this nigga? He needs his own channel. That's why I said that I was inspired to start going live. Who is this nigga? How they good shit. And me. And I started off in a fucking chat room typing. Then I went on a panel. Then I went live. So I ain't just pop up. This motherfucking thing. I don't just pop up. And it's funny. Joy, Huggy, JJ, Monica, all the motherfuckers. J4K. So I'm not shocked that that we ride together. But again, I said I ride with the T-sector. Because y'all see, I came up at the time I wasn't going nowhere else. So that was just there. Then I don't know how the fuck I met Just. That's where I bumped into Joy. I may have met, you know what? I met Just through Huggy. And I met Huggy, Soto Nation. The only reason I linked up with him is because Memphis nigga. Guess what? Never tried to meet that nigga. It was Joy. When Joy came to Memphis, she called Huggy. I never tried to meet that nigga. We was in the same city. I'm not friendly like that. I'm just saying. They just squashed it for anything come out. Man, I've been lit. Subs and no subs, been lit. Can't take that away. Because everybody started with 0 subs, but everybody ain't lit. Okay, where's my watch later list? Damn it. Okay. Taking over that. I didn't know Joy long. Where that thing got you? That's all you can say, huh? I know no longer. That's benefited you how? Or you can go talk on her panel? Then, and then at the time you saying I should be talking about gears. I can't even confirm if that nigga was talking about me or not. So why would I be talking about a nigga that ain't talking about me? It just makes no fucking sense. That goes against the advice you gave me. Hey, babe, don't be arguing with these people. Go wake up. It's gonna be 5 years. Man, hell no, I don't do that. I'm one off. I've been told you that too. I'm like, bro, I do this shit. It's playing. Do this shit. Like niggas is mad right now because I ain't beefing. I ain't beefing. I don't feel like beefing. When I feel like beefing, y'all gonna get it. But I don't feel like it right now. And then when I do feel like it, y'all know it's gonna be hell. I'm obsessed on it. But right now, I mean, it's Christmas time and shit. Just happy. I saw seagulls and shit for the first time. I'm happy. I'm in a different space in life. Fuck. I ain't got no bitch bothering, harassing me, worried about hoes calling me and shit. I'm happy. Pass the ketchup. Okay, did we do episode 5? I know we did 3 and 1 last time. Stop it! The Army of God. Did we finish that one? I think we did. Yep, we finished that one, the Army of God. That one, okay. Y'all want to do the Dr. York one again? Go ahead and say it in the chat before I skip it and go to season 2. Y'all want to see the Dr. York, Jack? Well, not see here. Y'all want to hear it because they'll strike me about it. Raina! You gonna hit the link, Raina? You got time, nigga. You drive. What you gonna do? Gonna call me out. I love a debate. Fuck. No, don't nobody. First of all, I don't celebrate Halloween. My kids don't celebrate Halloween. It's yeah. I think that's the only pro-black tenant I kind of kept. I don't like all that commercialism ass shit. I just don't like. They still do Christmas just because you can't avoid that one. But like the Halloween and the kind, nope. I'm just gonna buy you a shit ton of candy. Dr. York. She said, "What fuck it? We're gonna play Dr. Play what you want. Y'all ain't no goddamn help. Play whatever." The new Wappy inside. Here go Dr. York now. Oh, Philly. I heard what you're doing. Don't know better. Ma'am, you was a tree that fell in the forest. Don't nobody care. Now, you should know this by now. Like, ain't nobody finna talk to you. Ain't nobody finna respond to you. Do what you must. As everybody, as the world can see, ain't nobody listening. Keep on talking to nobody. FBI 38.
Wave busted.
Melly is still in jail awaiting his new retrial. And they still arguing over if he gonna get bond or not. So he's at a standstill. Boosie is arguing with niggas while he's still out on bond because a guest dude was gay, asked him for a massage on the beach. I think that was a setup though. Like I don't know though. I guess maybe that was dude game. Some niggas do walk up to women and just grab their ass. So I guess that may have been his shot at Boosie. Give me a massage. Young Thug case, well, one of his co-defendants that was playing crazy YSL Polo, he got sentenced to life, and Young Thug shit is still going on. And she came over her. She gonna come back. She ain't blocked, so she gonna come back. Trust me. I just want the world to see how nigga don't bother her. I'm supposed to be the stalker, the nigga that did all this shit to her. Yet she just got to come over here and talk. Even when they ain't talking about her, she'll pop up and argue with, ask questions, and release them. It's just I be proving my point.
Through the gates, there were FBI agents rappelling down from the helicopter. What we found was surreal.
You'll bring a sec.
50 to 75 children were found in the home of the group's leader, Dwight York.
Dwight York just fed them lie after lie after lie. He felt like he took our virginity. We're connected in more.
Look here, James. You leave my Rainer and Dyke Turner alone. They're mine. I like the Philly accents. They're mine. You can't have everybody, James. Damn. Sit your ass down somewhere.
To him, these are the days of the end of the world when all the prophecies are being fulfilled. Hearing his voice, it just captivated you. You can't understand the magnitude of horrific acts that occurred. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing, a monster.
I'm pretty much just gonna let this one roll all the way through because ain't no co-host. We kind of heard this one when I was doing the Tommy Brother Polite response. Oh shit. Ain't no cash yet, but I love it. Good grief. I feel like the old me. I'm lit. I've been lit. The DMs, the Instagrams, and all that shit is open right now, ladies. Send what you get. We already got it. We already got it started. Send what you get.
The year is 1970 in New York City. And down in the poverty-stricken neighborhood of Bushwick, Brooklyn, there is a religious leader who is giving new hope to a community.
We live by the word of Allah.
You know, he would give these speeches preaching Black power. He was an extremely charismatic guy. And so for the downtrodden and the people that wanted...
James, you sound like a hater. Well, I don't count how many people you got. How the fuck you gonna have everybody in the chat but gonna tell me I got one and you got 30? You're a hating ass. North Memphis niggas don't do that, sir. I just let you know which ones I didn't claimed already. You can't have Thick Nine. You can't have Rainer. You can't have Dyke Turner. You can't have E. Brooks. Everybody else knock yourself out. Dang, how you gonna want my phone? Nigga, can I have something to myself?
Answers. He was the guy that would provide that for them.
Where is our tomorrow? The only tomorrow we have is that we make it.
Dwight York is complex. When you were around him, you were mesmerized by him. Just so charismatic. It was just amazing. I thought that York was a messiah. Then you found out that you were dealing with something completely other than what you thought. I grew up in Queens, New York, in a single parent household. So was my mom and my older brother. My mother had to work. She was a nurse, so she had to work graveyard shifts. My brother and I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house.
Ruby's grandmother is a staunch Christian and reads Bible stories to a young, curious Ruby every day.
As a child, I was very into Bible stories. You know, I
James
always
Dean from
wondered
63rd.
about life and what we were here to do. Always
Yeah,
looking.
I'm glad you said that, Belisi. That perfectly describes like the North Memphis, South Memphis relationships in the city. Like seriously, it's like Old Block and 63rd. Historically, we don't get along, and nobody cares about Whitehaven. Nobody cares. You get huggy. Them Whitehaven niggas, like he literally encompasses Whitehaven niggas other than DJ Pop. That's it.
For something that makes sense to why I was here, what my purpose is supposed to be in this life. And I got disappointed by things I saw around me, you know, in the world.
At only 40.
And the only reason Hope Pacino getting so much energy is because I didn't listen to a live where this nigga talking about he pulled up at a gas station on a nigga, he folded his clothes and all that. And I've been asking this bitch ass nigga to drop the location for 3 months because he came out the blue and said he'll smack the shit out of me. So he offered violence. Oh, nigga, I'm with that. You in the city? I'm waiting on you to do all that shit you did to the crackhead because that's the only reason you did it. I don't know you, but they said you was a crackhead at the time. That's the only reason he tried you like this. I want that same invitation, bitch ass nigga. That's the only reason you getting the smoke like I'm getting you, because you really a bitch ass nigga to be mad at it. Because I ain't put you in a song, hoe ass nigga. Because I let you and another grown ass man just talk it out. I ain't take nobody's side. I didn't mute nobody. I didn't drop nobody. That's why you mad at me, 40-year-old hoe ass nigga. No wonder you ain't got no bitches. No wonder you had to pay to see Bam pussy. Now you gotta be the only nigga on the internet that done paid to see Bam pussy. Trick ass nigga.
Years old, Ruby comes face to face with racism, and it changes her life forever.
My mom and I went.
Lala and Huggy said you sent him them pussy pictures and you want him to fuck. That's what he said on my mama. Hoe ass nigga. Let's see if you was lying on your dick.
The grocery store. She had to pick up a couple of things. It was crowded, and I broke away from my mom.
And just to put Joy in it, Joy heard it. Well, she didn't hear Lala say it. She you know, I told her that Huggy said it. So let me clear that up. So she'd be like, I told her about it. She didn't actually see it.
When I was trying to catch up to my mom,
Pillow talking to her.
I got hit by a grocery cart by an elderly white
It's
woman.
big ghetto over here. I'm from North
I
Memphis.
turned, and I couldn't say anything. Then another elderly white woman came on the other side, and they both had me blocked in between grocery carts and squishing. And they were both saying to me, say excuse me, say excuse me. And I said, Mommy! It made me feel that white people didn't think I was important enough, because they wouldn't have done that to a little white girl, you know, in a grocery store. They would have tried to help her find a mom or find out who she was with.
The experience she had a profound impact on her, and it changed the way she saw herself. You know, she realized discrimination for the first time, and it carried on for her, you know, as a young adult.
You start to think about everything else in your life that you perceive. I just started thinking differently about religions. The Bible portrayed a white Jesus. That's not the way Jesus probably looked. I started looking for spiritual things or religious things that I could relate to as a Black person.
While young Ruby grapples with questions of race and religion.
If you're not Black, you don't belong in this movie.
All right now.
It's a Black bang.
Dwight York is attracting followers in New York City delivering sermons that weave ideas of black power with traditional Islamic doctrine. His congregation goes through several name changes before settling on the United Nuwaubian Nation of Moors, and his followers are called Nuwaubians.
You are the rich man, Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the people founders, the father of civilization.
I told you earlier on when I met you, you was acting like a bitch, nigga, because you wouldn't stop texting me like a hoe. Are you still mad about that, sir? I'm blood. I'm direct. You was acting like a hoe. And then yo excuse, like your response later on talking about how you was in the hospital with COVID. Nigga, I don't give a fuck. You a grown ass man. Call your bitch and play with her. Nigga, I told this nigga, I'm with my kids got my phone, and you keep interrupting them, texting. They keep bringing me the damn phone. This nigga gonna keep texting back, laughing emojis and shit. I said, you acting like a bitch.
God of the universe.
Now you want to be tough. Hoe ass nigga, you ain't say no when I called you a bitch, nigga. You kept your mouth closed. Nigga, Joy didn't even know I called you a bitch ass nigga until goddamn it the meet and greet. Bitch ass nigga. Now you want to be tough. I been called you a bitch nigga in private. Now all of a sudden you want to be tough and smack a nigga. You should have wanted to smack a nigga when I called you a bitch on your phone, sir. Personally. Not for the public. You ain't had none of that smoke. Nigga, what you did was you tucked your motherfucking tail and we just didn't talk about it. We just didn't fuck with each other. Now all of a sudden, cause you in another state, bitch ass nigga, if you're even up there, you want to be tough. I'm not one of these J4K ass niggas, bitch. Pull up. Drop the location. Since you ain't in Memphis, whenever you pull up, nigga, drop that motherfucker. Tough ass nigga. You're not tough, and you just like a year or two removed from having a roommate, puss ass nigga.
When Dwight York started, he was involved with the Black Panther movement, the Nation of Islam. At first, he was like a big player in the movement, but that's not what Dwight York wanted. Dwight York wanted to be the star.
In 1972, York's growing congregation moves to Bushwick, Brooklyn. His most loyal followers are invited to live in communal housing, where everyone is separated by gender and age. The children attend Nuwaubian school, the women work in York's office, and the men go out into the streets to recruit new members. When Ruby is 14 years old, a Nuwaubian recruiter approaches her in a local beauty salon.
So I'm sitting there by myself, and this brother comes in all dressed in white. It was windy outside, so when he opened the door, it was like magical to me. You know, the wind blew in and his garbs were flowing, and I smelled all this sweet oil in the air. He's smelling good, and he walks over to me like this mystery person, you know, and I'm just like, why is he coming over to me? And he passes me this book. And I just sat there amazed. I read that book from cover to cover, and it struck that chord in me that was affected by racism. So I was hooked.
Shortly after their encounter in the beauty salon, Ruby's recruiter takes her to hear York preach at his headquarters in Brooklyn.
Walking down Bushwick Avenue, you had the brothers with the boom boxes and the rosters on the corner. Finally, you get closer to that community, the whole scenery changed. I started seeing little children running around in these garbs. They were speaking another language I didn't understand. I saw this big star and crescent needle in the air. It felt safe. It felt positive. It felt magical. And class, it was in a small auditorium. York was preaching.
That he's our father, and I'm his son, and my father is what I am, and I am what my father is. When you see me, you see my father, and when you see me, you see God.
I was amazed. Wow, this is somebody who looks like me, and they're calling him a prophet.
You are God incarnate. You.
When I was 16, I dropped out of high school to join the community. I felt like it was my soul salvation to do it. Nothing else mattered. School didn't matter. College didn't matter. My family didn't matter anymore. I just had to be there.
Ruby isn't the only woman who falls under York's spell. But unlike Ruby, some are brought into the cult as young children with their mothers.
I was born, raised, and baptized Christian. But when I was 5, my mom came across one of the books. She connected with that ideology.
Only decision you'll ever want to make on your own is when you make up your mind not to believe that Jesus, a white hippie, is God incarnate.
Nikki's mom becomes a passionate follower of York's. She converts to Islam and makes drastic changes to her and her daughter's lives.
My wardrobe changed, how we ate changed. We would study the Quran. We learned Arabic from Arabic teachers.
If you want to get the devil out of your face, stop smiling in his face.
Nikki is 11 years old when she moves into York's commune with her mom and her 2 younger siblings.
Nikki's mom, she was a single mom in kind of financial straits, and she was made the promise, come join us. We will take care of you and your daughter. Just come live with us and you won't have any worries.
If you move into York's commune, he provides you with shelter and food and work, but in return for what he gives you, he demands complete control over every aspect of your life, right down to which male follower you're going to marry and have children with.
As for himself, York is a proud polygamist and defends the practice by loosely citing passages in the Quran.
Polygamy isn't a red flag for York's followers because York was the savior. Everyone wanted to have a relationship with York.
At this point, York is having sex with dozens and dozens
You know what I'm saying? I can learn anything you want me to do. I want to be here. I want to help you. And I want to be a part of your family. 2 days later, he said yes. At the time when I married him, I was 19. He gave me a diamond ring, and I was so happy I cried. I spent about a month or two living with him, like a little honeymooning period.
During this honeymoon period, Ruby sleeps with York. She isn't a virgin, but she honors the moment as if it's her first time.
I felt special because I'm looking at being in his family as a privilege, some honor of service.
Ruby is overjoyed as she settles into her new role as York's wife. But all of that changes one day when she notices a teenage girl come to his apartment.
She was only 15 or 16 at the time when she was coming around him. Then one day he actually had a conversation with me about this young girl. He said he would take her to the back and he would have anal sex with her because he liked the size of her behind. I'm standing there while he's telling me this, and I'm like, she's a minor and a virgin. When he told me this story about violating her, in my mind, I'm saying, is he testing me? I was terrified.
After moving into Dwight York's Brooklyn commune, Ruby Garnett is tapped to join his inner circle as one of his wives.
Of course, she's elated at first, but then she's horrified when she learns that York is sodomizing one of his underage female followers.
I'm standing there while he's telling me this, and I'm like, how dare you? Even though I was having a mental battle about what he was doing and what I felt was right or wrong, I still said, well, maybe there's something that, I don't understand.
It's a great day and time we're living in. These are the days at the end of the world when all the prophecies are being fulfilled. And for me to be here amongst you today to break this spell, I merely ask you to give me your attention.
A little after I joined the community, my mom became one of his wives. That meant I was one of his children, and I looked up to him. That's my dad.
At this point, Dwight York has 30 wives and 100 children. And some of the girls, like Nikki, are starting to be treated differently than some of the other girls.
He would give us like little treats. Oh, I'm going to get you guys soda. That was like a big deal. Like, oh, wow, we got soda. Or watch cartoons or TV. He gave us t-shirts. We're like, we have short sleeve t-shirts that no one else has.
Nikki's mother was one of my co-wives. Nikki was part of that young clique who spent a lot of time with York. Parents figured to be with this man, to be with York was an honor. It was a privilege.
York's behavior was that of a typical pedophile. It completely starts out with gaining their trust. I think in this case, the first and foremost step in this process was that your parent is telling you that this is God and this is our Savior. So they believed they were supposed to do whatever they needed to do to please him.
York tells them that in the Sudan, where he claims to trace his roots from, that it is absolutely normal for an elder man in the family to teach young girls about sex.
When I was 13 years old, one of the wives, she had a conversation with me and said, York would be the person that would teach me about sex, and she would help me and talk to me because, these are things that you want to know as a growing woman.
When Nikki was around 13, he started teaching her different sexual techniques. York said that it was like completely normal. And this is a typical thing. And this is a typical thing for a cult, is to brainwash you into thinking like deviant behavior is actually normal.
In those times, he started fondling us. Things happened so frequently that you didn't get a chance to really feel like what's really going on. I was confused because he told me basically that it was just this normal thing. One of the things that he told us is the person who takes your virginity, that's the person that you're always going to be connected to and loyal to.
Nikki rejects York's advances, while he continues to argue that having sex with him is a show of loyalty.
One day, I got called to his house, and he was just like, it's not a big deal. Like, why are you making this a big deal? It wasn't something that I wanted to do, and he just kind of held me down and just did it. It was rape when he took my virginity. I was 15. I was miserable. I used to write him many letters saying that I hated my life, and I wish I wasn't born, but there's nothing I could do about it. This is someone who, for all of my life, was our leader, our master teacher. So when you have that ingrained in you, you don't want to leave.
And if I am in the image and after the likeness of God, and that God is consistent of both good and bad qualities, that explains why I do so much evil.
At this time, no one on the outside really has any clue about the sex crimes going on inside the cult. But law enforcement is starting to investigate other criminal activity that York is connected to in New York City.
Law enforcement in the Northeast and the FBI had knowledge that York was involved in other criminal activity that was not of a sexual nature. There was intelligence that his group was being funded by organized bank robbery efforts, counterfeit checks.
He had been investigated for a variety of different crimes in Brooklyn, and as a result of their investigations, he decided to move out of the state and to Eatonton, Georgia.
In 1993, York announces that he is moving the commune down south, where they can build their own sovereign nation.
And that makes us a physical state. With our own passports and our own tax system.
The property was out in Putnam County in a very rural area, a little over 400 acres. Much of it was bordered by the national forest. Isolation was very much a factor. They were coming to Georgia, and they were going to form their own nation, not subject to the laws of the United States.
I got the message that I was chosen to be a part of the first trip to Georgia. He had a couple of us separate out cash. He had all these little briefcases. Each briefcase was between $8,000 and $10,000 that we each had to travel with. He explained to us that in the event that we get pulled over and we get searched, that this is our money that we've been saving and we're traveling to Georgia on a vacation.
I'm talking about our own nation. Where no one tells us what to do but us.
York's teachings take a very bizarre and unpredictable turn down in Georgia. What occurred in New York was just the tip of the iceberg.
After spending over a decade in Brooklyn, Nubian Nation cult leader Dwight York announces to his followers that he is moving his commune to Eatonton, a small rural town in Georgia.
We're driving cross country. You see the rural areas that we weren't accustomed to seeing. We pulled onto the property and it was just open land. It was amazing.
As York makes a new home for his followers, he also makes significant changes to the cult's Islamic-based doctrine.
The doctrine started to change. He said the government would start targeting us if we stayed practicing Islam. He wanted us to blend in.
I can clearly remember the first time I ever saw in the Wabian. I remember pulling up into the grocery store and seeing a minibus pull up. 15 to 20 people get off of the bus, and they were dressed in cowboy garb. Hat, vest, boots, the big belt buckles, completely not the way that we dress here.
When York's followers first showed up here, it looked like rodeo had come to town.
I think maybe York's impression of Southerners is that this is how they dressed. But in reality, of course, no one dressed like that. So he was either really trying to fit in, or he was just mocking the locals and maybe stoking the fire a little bit.
They really did stand out as a complete oddity. Who are these people and where they come from and why are they here?
After his strange Western phase, York tries on several new identities, and each one is more bizarre than the next. He claimed
that statement was racist as hell. Who are these people and where they came from? They motherfuckers shopping at the grocery store.
to be Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle of the Yamasee Native American Moors of the Creek Nation.
What?
Bizarre than the next.
And where they come from and why are they here?
After his strange Western phase, York tries on several new identities, and each one is more bizarre than the next. He claims to be Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle of the Yamasee Native American Moors of the Creek Nation. Then he calls himself Yanoon, an extraterrestrial from another planet.
Through the changes York was making, we wanted to ask questions, but we didn't want to seem like we're challenging his authority or his leadership. He was really good at creating these stories that it made sense in the moment.
York eventually settles on an Egyptian motif and names his Georgia compound Tama Ray.
I'm sick of your ass. Cut your device up, motherfucker. Did you hear that? I'm just playing.
Unexpected site in the middle of rural Georgia.
He started building elaborate fake pyramids and sphinx.
Their philosophy includes ancient Egyptian polytheism and a belief in UFOs.
If you were coming into Putnam County on Georgia Highway 142, all of a sudden there are pyramids out there in the middle of a cow pasture that looked like a cheap amusement park. It was very unusual, no doubt about that.
Have you seen that property out there?
Oh, cheap amusement park.
What do you think?
I think it's kind of strange.
Once they started building statues and the pyramids and were expanding, it did start to build concern within the community.
I'm talking about a real nation. Our own nation. Right here. Right here.
I recall receiving phone calls from people up north. They would say, my son or daughter's joined this cult down there, and every time I call down there, they won't let me talk to him or her.
But no one tells us what to do but us.
There's armed guards at the gates with guns, and they won't allow me access.
When I went by there one morning, they're marching around with guns, and I just don't think that's the thing to have.
When you're met with armed individuals who claim that they're not subject to your laws, armed conflict is usually instantaneous.
In America, you have freedom of assembly, you have freedom of speech, freedom of religious beliefs.
To me, it seems like they're trying to take over.
We had security guards.
White lady, how they trying to take over, and they was doing this on their own land. They wasn't in y'all city fucking with y'all. They just went to the city to buy their groceries and went home. Y'all didn't say they were out there fucking with people. Y'all talking about what they was doing on their own property. Cause they was building it shit. Y'all was like, who is these niggas? Where they come from? And how they got so much money to be building these pyramids? That shit ain't cheap. That construction on them Sphinx and shit wasn't cheap. Y'all was hating white people. Y'all was hating.
Guard people from not coming onto the property, but we were not behind a gate with a lock and key. We were built up mentally believing that we couldn't leave, we shouldn't leave. We're sacrificing for the greater good. We're sacrificing for the future.
But behind the bizarre gates of Tamaray, not even York's closest followers are aware of new horrors that are unfolding.
One morning I was cleaning up and I heard the door fly open. And I saw one of my co-wife's daughters. She was crying and she was hysterical. She was screaming in Arabic that Baba's was in my mouth, Baba's was in my mouth. She was only 5. 5? I have never to this day seen anybody
I'm sure that 5-year-old didn't say dick. I'm sure she may have said something else, but she didn't say dick, and she had to have said dick for them to bleep it out.
Hysterical. She was hyperventilating. She couldn't catch her breath, and she was crying. I held her and I calmed her down, and it was heartbreaking. And I wanted to protect her, but I couldn't. I thought about, if he's doing that with her, who else is he doing that with? This didn't make any sense to me. Everything I had believed was a lie. And that night I had this dream that I was around my family, my mother, my cousins and everything. And in the dream I was crying because I felt like this is my family. These are the people that really love me, and this is where I should be. I knew that I needed to leave, but what's gonna happen to me? What am I gonna do?
After Ruby Garnett discovers that cult leader Dwight York has sexually molested a 5-year-old girl, she decides to leave the Georgia compound.
I got whatever belongings I had. I didn't have much stuff. He would not see me after that moment because I'm sure he knew that I knew.
York does not physically stop his followers from leaving, but he does brainwash.
If he didn't see you anymore, how would he know that you knew?
Them into believing that they cannot survive on the outside without him.
And why wouldn't he think that if you knew, why wouldn't he think that everybody knew? Well, all the wives of everybody, because apparently the rest of the cult act like they didn't know what was going on. But the wives at least knew. How he know you knew, but not her mama?
So although they're free to leave the compound at any time, they are paralyzed with fear.
For those that are brave enough to leave, the fastest way off the compound is to hitch a ride on a van carrying books and materials to one of York's satellite offices up north.
When I left, I was crying because this is someplace I thought I could live the rest of my life and it would be better than everything out here. As we're going down the hill, rolling out to the gates, I thought about the little girl. I said, I left her there. What's going to happen to her and who else he's doing stuff to?
Ruby leaves the compound, but she never goes to the police. She was absolutely too frightened to go. The image of the hysterical 5-year-old haunts her for years to come.
I was riddled with guilt. I just felt detached from everything, from reality.
Weren't too afraid to leave, but was too afraid to go to the police.
There was definitely a level of nonchalantness in sexual activities that was going on. It wasn't so covert, it was very out there. It got to the point where girls were coming to Georgia and someone would come to them and say, you have 2 weeks to be in York's bed, and if you don't want to go in his bed, you're going to get kicked out.
For a while, York tries to maintain some secrecy around his sex crimes. But as the years pass, his deviant behavior becomes harder to hide from the outside world.
The first information that York was molesting children came to me from medical professionals in the area who finally felt obligated to tell me that very young women that came from the Milwaukee compound were having babies.
We had allegations regarding sexual exploitation of children. We wanted to get in there, but the FBI's hands were tied in so many ways because of what happened in Waco and Ruby Ridge.
What happened at Waco and Ruby Ridge make it really difficult for the FBI to pursue an investigation against Dwight York without eyewitness proof of the crimes. They've got to build a rock-solid case against him if they're going to raid the compound.
The turning point for the investigation comes when Sheriff Howard Sills gets a call from Dwight York's son, Jacob, who left the cult a decade earlier after becoming disillusioned with his father's teachings.
Jacob York wanted to meet with me to tell me what was really going on. So I said, fine, I'll meet you at the FBI office in Atlanta in the morning at 9 o'clock. We go into the FBI office. He sits down in the office with myself and FBI agents and begins to tell us the whole story of York, that he was routinely having sex with underage girls, often very underage girls, that he was on the 3rd generation of doing that with girls. And I basically said, well, I want to talk to one of these women this happened to. He said, sure, one of them's in the car, I'll go get her now.
Detectives interview this former cult member for several hours. She then provides the names of more women that want to come forward.
When one person would come forward, it would give somebody else the courage to come forward. So we would constantly get a phone call and they would say, hey, I'm a victim and I want to talk. I'm ready. I want you to hear my story.
One witness would lead to the next in terms of identifying victims. And in the end, we identified and interviewed at least 40 victims.
At this point, York's cult has been in Georgia for about 7 years. Now, at its height, there were a couple of hundred people living on the compound and about 40 women in his inner circle. By the year 2000, about a third of the women in his inner circle have decided to leave, and Nikki is one of them.
When I was in my early 20s, I started seeing the patterns of certain things. I started recognizing the girls and boys that he was molesting were getting younger in age. 7 and 12 and 11. When I started seeing some of the younger children complain about it, it started to remind me of how miserable I was when things started happening to me. Being in a space that's supposed to be holy and pure and protected and happy, but we're miserable, times keep getting worse and worse. And I was scared to leave because I'm not going to be protected. I don't know anything on the outside. But some parts of me was like, I'm willing to go to the unknown.
After spending 18 years in York's cult, Nikki finally decides that she's had enough.
Nikki faces a lot of pressure to stay, both from York and from her own mother, who's not interested in leaving the cult. Nikki has no family on the outside to help her, but a former cult member living in Atlanta offers her a place to stay. Now, York is not happy with Nikki's decision to leave, so to save face, he announces that he's kicking Nikki out, and he arranges a car to drive her to Atlanta.
The day I left, I was scared and numb and feel like this is it. If I'm going to die, then at least I made that one thing, that choice of my own, because I didn't have any choices. I had to do what I was told the whole time.
After Nikki leaves, she decides to cooperate with the FBI on the case they are building against York.
Nikki was a very important part of our investigation. This was a way of her saying, you know, I want to help make this right. I can't take back what happened to them, but maybe I can help stop it from happening to other children.
Nikki is among the over 40 victims who speak with the FBI. With this testimony in hand, the agency develops their plan to take down York.
The law enforcement in Georgia didn't want to have a repeat of Waco. So there was a lot of concern about how they were going to deal with Dwight York.
We have received information over the years that he had a stockpile of weapons. We were concerned about a shootout. We all concluded that it would be best to arrest York away from the compound.
On May 8, 2002, York's black vehicle pulls out of Tomaray's gates.
Joan and I walked into the command post, and two of our bosses walk out from the back room, and they said, "Hey, y'all, do you know that your target is moving?"
When York's vehicle pulls out of his compound, he is unaware that FBI agents are trailing him.
We learned from radio communication that his vehicle had pulled into a parking lot of a grocery store. The SWAT team was there and the arrest teams. Our job was to make sure we could identify him. He got out of the vehicle with the female and was going into the grocery store. It was at that point we see the arrest go down.
When York was arrested, that was the go-ahead for the rest of the SWAT team to go enter the compound.
The sheriff led the convoy. We busted through the gates, just drove right through. There were FBI agents rappelling down from the helicopters.
It was a tactical assault. There's no other word for it.
My immediate reaction was to pray. I prayed for myself and everybody else to make it home.
Having collected evidence from over 40 molestation victims, the FBI arrests cult leader Dwight York on May 8, 2002. With York now in custody, the FBI storms his compound.
The raid was a show of force involving hundreds of local and federal officers.
As the deputies swarmed in, we created a big perimeter. We had everybody in handcuffs within 15 minutes.
Well, the court's order has been willfully violated. Can any of you explain that?
I was elated that we had done this without anybody getting hurt.
I don't think that any type of raid of this magnitude could have been pulled off any smoother than this. I remember thinking, you know what? This is going to happen. We are going to prove this case. We are going to get some closure for so many victims.
How do you plead, guilty or not guilty? Did anybody force you or threaten you in any way to charge them with this guilty?
York pleads guilty in state court to 74 counts of child molestation. Then he pleads guilty in federal court to the interstate transportation of minors for criminal sexual activity, conspiracy, and racketeering.
Now, he's expected to receive a 15-year sentence for his plea bargain, but the judge ultimately rejects that and sends the case to trial.
York absolutely did not want to go to trial because all his secrets would come out and all the sexual deviance over the last, decade or so would come out, and that was the last thing that he wanted.
There was an outstanding motion in the Georgia Supreme Court.
It was during the trial that Mickey and the other victims were called to testify. And several of them went on the stand and told their story right in front of Dwight. York was sitting right there at the defense table.
I hadn't seen him in 3 years. And actually it was kind of liberating because I felt like he can't tell me anything. He can't make me do anything. That was the first time of me getting my power back.
York is found guilty on 11 of the 13 counts and sentenced to the maximum prison term for each conviction.
There's really no explanation that I can give of the joy that I felt when the guilty verdicts came down. York is currently serving a 135-year federal prison sentence on lockdown for 23 hours a day. He has exhausted all of his appeals, and that's where he will remain. Justice had been served for these victims.
What that sentence does too is assures these people that they can now walk with their head high, pursue their dreams. And, if he'd have gotten 20 years or something like that, I'm just not sure if they would have had that same sense of security.
If I could see him today, I would say, apologize, because you caused damage to people. You caused so much damage to people. That experience has affected every relationship I've tried to have in my life. It took me a long time to even admit that I was in a cult. It took me a long time to say that word, to say I was in a cult. I say community all the time. It's an acceptance thing. It's just something you have to be truthful to yourself about, that, yeah, I was in a cult. I joined a cult. I believed in that cult, I thought that York was a savior. I thought he was the next prophet to this planet. But then I found out that he was nothing but a glorified pedophile.
He took advantage of our work, our bodies, our minds.
Father of civilization, God of the universe.
He had us fooled. He never cared about us. Now that he's in prison, he's living how he forced us to live while he took advantage of us. He doesn't get to have the last say in that.
Okay, how do I get to the next one? For some reason, I don't think we finished Army of God. I think I had stopped for like 20 minutes left. I don't think we finished it, but fuck it. Because everything else, the little bar is at the end, how to let you know you ain't finished watching all of it. Why does it say children for God? Oh, because we did finish watching it. Wait a minute. Let's see, what is this one about? I think we may have watched that one. I
think I did go straight to season 2 because I skipped Dr. York last time. Yes, I did.
And just a couple of
That little weird, that little boy. Yeah.
Detectives learned that Ricky Rodriguez.
Yup, we did that. Oh, we're going to the Manson family. The Manson family.
We're in the middle of a holy war. The holy war is not a game.
Friday night in Los Angeles, a movie actress and 4 of her friends were murdered. The circumstances were lurid.
It's unfathomable to think that they were just there at the wrong place at the wrong time.
I remember them all being giddy and gleeful about what they had done. Charlie Manson was always in control. He threatened to hang me upside down and skin me alive.
It goes to show how much of a spell they were under.
Solid play, isn't it?
And it was just so tragic that Charlie had turned them into these killers.
Aren't we all born to die?
On August 8, 1969, actress Sharon Tate and her house guests gathered for what they thought would be a quiet evening in. What happened that night would terrify the nation for decades to come.
I was working the day watch out of the West Los Angeles division. When I got to the scene, there was a white Rambler parked right there inside the gate, and there was a dead body in the Rambler. I ran down there, and there's 2 more laying on the lawn in front of the house. We proceeded through the house, guns drawn, and we finally got to the living room area, and that's where we found 2 more bodies. All I can say is it was probably the bloodiest. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. It's something I will never, ever forget.
But the horror didn't stop there. The murders of Lino and Rosemary LaBianca the following night heightened the terror taking over California.
The bizarre circumstances of those 2 murders last night were strikingly similar to the 5 murders at a home in Bel Air a few miles away.
People were very frightened by these murders. LA was just in a frenzy.
And the mastermind behind the killings would haunt the nation's psyche for generations to come.
I'm the criminal, rebel, the outcast, the unwanted.
Charles Manson has captured the public imagination for the past 50 years for his role in ordering a string of terrifying murders.
Beautiful, Charlie.
But perhaps what's most striking is how he was able to manipulate a group of young women to commit such gruesome killings with seemingly no remorse.
In the late 1960s, Charles Manson is a highly regarded figure in the West Coast counterculture. He preaches a wide variety of beliefs centered on a free love lifestyle and in opposition to authority.
Every time you start wanting or trying to be free, in your mind forever, it's always stories. What kills me?
He would have a group of people around him, and they would be mesmerized because here is this petite man with all the answers.
He had this uncanny ability to read who you were and become whoever it was that you needed. He just was a chameleon.
Charlie gains a strong following in just a few short years, and 14-year-old Diane Lake is one of the first to join what becomes known as the Manson family.
I was in love with Charlie, and I remember at one point feeling like I was his favorite. And as it turned out, Charlie had an unbelievable way of making everybody feel like they were his favorite.
Originally from a small town just outside Minneapolis, Diane was the oldest child of 3 born into an all-American family.
My dad was an ex-Marine, and, my mom had wanted to go to nursing school, but she gave that up to be a stay-at-home mom.
Diane's father had started to question societal norms and began to be drawn to hippie counterculture, which was becoming popular at the time.
And his draw to the counterculture results in a brash decision regarding their home.
He decided to trade the house that he and my mom had bought in the suburbs of Minneapolis for a trailer. It was unbelievable, really.
In 1965, 12-year-old Diane and her younger siblings are uprooted by their parents and moved across the country to California.
My mom got turned on to marijuana, and my dad started doing psychedelic drugs and took my first acid trip, and I started having sex.
Diane is trying to navigate an adult world, as a 13-year-old.
After 2 years driving around California, Diane and her family wind up on a commune called the Hog Farm, run by Hugh and Bonnie Jean Romney.
Hugh and Bonnie Jean came to me because I was a, sexually active underaged female. I was considered jailbait, and they really didn't want me there. And my parents at that point, they didn't do anything. And it was shortly thereafter, a couple showed up, and they invited me to come live with them. And so I said yes.
For Diane's parents, the idea was, okay, go out there, explore, see you around.
Several weeks later, Diane and the couple are in California, where they go to a party at a house in Topanga Canyon called the Spiral Staircase.
The Spiral Staircase was something of a notorious hippie flop house where people would come to party, jam, and do drugs.
So we go up the stairs and walk in, and these girls come running up to me. Diane, Charlie, Diane is here. I was like, what? How do you know me?
Her parents had actually partied with Charles Manson a few weeks earlier. Diane's father was so impressed with Manson that he gave Manson a picture of Diane and told him to keep an eye out for her.
Charlie came up and offered me this root beer and, just gave me a big embrace. And welcome. We've been looking for you. And invited me to sit in a circle. It just felt all super magical. Charlie was playing the guitar, and he was just, very warm and inviting, and he was cute.
The 32-year-old spiritual guru had lived a very different life from Diane before embedding himself in California's hippie scene.
Charles Manson had a lousy childhood. When he was 4 years old, his mother was sentenced to state prison for armed robbery. When he was 8, he was turned over by his mother to juvenile authorities as an incorrigible.
I wouldn't go to school. They tried to make me, so I set it on fire.
Charles Manson spent nearly half his life behind bars for charges ranging from auto theft to sexual assault before being released in the spring of 1967.
Manson was very open that he had spent time in prison, and he wasn't afraid of sharing it. And so if anything, it gave him some street cred.
At the time Diane meets him at the Spiral Staircase, he's living with 5 women in a decked-out school bus.
Charlie took me into the bus that evening and, made passionate, love to me, which made me feel totally accepted and wanted.
His pattern was to have sex with the girls as soon as he met them. To the girls, they were making love. And they really felt that. And in an instant, they would fall for him.
At just 14 years old, Diane becomes the 6th and youngest girl to devote herself to Charles Manson.
Mary Bruner was the matriarch of our family. She was the oldest. She was the first of Charlie's girls. Patty Krenwinkel was just the sweetest, most nurturing, humble woman. Susan Atkins was the most worldly. She was older, she'd had a harder life, she'd been a stripper. Lynette Squeaky Fromm was kind of a bookworm, studious girl. She'd been kicked out of her house, and Charlie found her on the curb in Venice reading the dictionary. I think that there was a common thread between me and the other girls. I think we all had issues of abandonment and not feeling, worthy or loved. And, Charlie saw that and filled the void.
Over the next several months, Charlie picks up more devotees, mainly women, some underage like Diane, and a few men as well. They travel up and down the California coast, squatting in abandoned houses and following his lead by engaging in sex and drug use with abandon.
We smoked pot every day and took acid at least, I think, once a week. And a lot of times the taking acid was a group exercise. And it was kind of like a sacrament. I mean, we sit in a circle and Charlie would place the tab on each person's tongue. And then if it was going to be a group sex encounter, he would usually start it by taking the person next to him's shirt off. And then it would go around the circle. Everybody would take somebody else's shirt off. Charlie thought everything was free. It was free love. We are all to love each other. We have to get rid of our inhibitions, get rid of that ego.
As charming and as charismatic as Manson was, he was a criminal. And so he knew that underage girls, bad. So he needed to get them IDs.
He knew somebody who could do these fake IDs. And I needed a fake ID because I was underage. My name became Diane Bluestein. And I think that he made me 21.
In April of '68, the group finds themselves searching for a new place to live. They end up at a house in North Hollywood, owned by a friend of Charlie's named Harold.
He was like kind of a big, overweight kind of guy. I mean, not somebody that I thought was like handsome.
But Diane is about to discover that the man she worships is more than willing to use her as a bargaining chip.
We were in the bedroom and Charlie, was ushering me towards Harold and, she'll take good care of you. Charlie wanted me to have sex with Harold because Harold was providing a place for us to stay. This was different. It wasn't like incorporating him into, like an orgy or, a family be in. And I told Charlie, I don't want to do this, He made it clear to me that this was, something that I, needed to do for Charlie. And that was quite a shock because I was like, what have I got myself into?
Diane is now faced with the ultimate test. Do I prove my love to Charles Manson, or do I walk away from this?
In the spring of 1968, Charles Manson tells his youngest follower, 15-year-old Diane Lake, to have sex with the owner of a Los Angeles home where he and his followers are staying.
This was the first time that he had made me feel like I was obligated to have sex with this man.
Despite her fear and disgust, the 15-year-old does what she's asked.
I felt like I needed to obey Charlie. I didn't want to disappoint him.
It's the first of many such experiences as Manson starts regularly pimping out Diane and the other young women in exchange for housing, food, and money. 1 month later, Charlie settles his family at a horse ranch just outside of Los Angeles, owned by 80-year-old George Spahn.
George Spahn was nearly blind and was letting the ranch pretty much rot away. Manson saw an inn here and he worked out a deal where his girls would sleep with George so they could have free reign on the property.
While at Spawn Ranch, the Manson family begins to attract new followers, like 25-year-old Catherine Scher.
We were shown into what looked like a real saloon, and everybody was in a circle singing. And so we just joined in.
I was a little boy, used to hang my feet. I thought Charlie was a pretty good musician, playing the songs that he believed.
Charlie's lyrics kind of went down to your core, your heart, made you think.
Come home, little children, come home.
Charlie said, "You're not like the rest. You've had a hard time, haven't you?" I was born in Nazi occupation of France, and I was hidden in a safe house since I had Jewish blood.
Catherine's parents were killed during the war, and she was on her own at the age of 16.
Charlie made me feel that like I belonged there, so I decided to stay.
Catherine convinces her friend, 18-year-old Leslie Van Houten, a former homecoming queen, to join her at Spawn Ranch. Manson draws in more men to join the family as well, like Bobby Beausoleil, Bruce Davis, and Charles Tex Watson.
Tex was like a big brother to me. He taught me how to drive.
He fixed everything. He was jack of all trades.
During the spring and summer of 1968, Spawn Ranch grew, and Manson had around 30 followers there, including children.
Charlie was always in control, but he would suggest things.
Forget your mom and dad.
Everybody's raised up to help their mom or their dad or somebody they thought was there, but actually they wasn't there. They was only there because their mom and their dad set them there. I mean, everybody's a program pattern or somebody else's program pattern.
He kind of closed us off from other society. We didn't really listen to the radio. We didn't watch television.
The value system you live under is not honest and truthful. Then how can I be honest and truthful with the value system you can't see the honesty and the truth?
And then it turned into, if you think, then you are not free, you're not evolved. So you should just get to the point where you don't think about anything, you just are. And that's how he just slowly took over our minds.
That summer, Manson lures in a new admirer with fame and fortune, Beach Boys drummer Dennis Wilson.
Dennis was kind of looking for a guru kind of guy, and Charlie fit the bill.
As Charlie and Dennis started spending time together, Charlie starts getting a taste for fame and fortune and craving some of that for himself. So Dennis introduces him to record producer Terry Melcher.
If I had $1 million. Terry came and we all sang for him at the ranch. Charlie was really hopeful, that this was going to lead to a record produced.
Manson's driving force was he always wanted to be a musician. And truth be told, Manson wasn't that bad. He's hoping that he's going to open the doors for him
think about anything, you just are. And that's how he just slowly took over our minds.
That summer, Manson lures in a new admirer with fame and fortune, Beach Boys drummer Dennis Wilson.
Dennis was kind of looking for a guru kind of guy, and Charlie fit the bill.
As Charlie and Dennis started spending time together, Charlie starts getting a taste for fame and fortune and craving some of that for himself. So Dennis introduces him to record producer Terry Melcher.
If I had $1 million.
Terry came and we all sang for him at the ranch. Charlie was really hopeful, that this was going to lead to a record produced.
Manson's driving force was he always wanted to be a musician. And truth be told, Manson wasn't that bad. He's hoping that he's going to open the doors for him and he's going to have this new career.
But a week passes, and despite how positive the audition felt, Manson hears nothing from Melcher.
I think that Charlie was kind of reading the writing on the wall, but was still holding out that this was going to work.
Manson finally calls Melcher and is dealt a big blow. There won't be a record deal after all.
Charlie was, angry and disappointed.
Up until that point, no one has told him he's bad. And I think for the first time, Manson finally felt rejected. And that did not sit well with him.
I was in the kitchen doing the dishes, and Charlie wanted me to do something. And I said, let me finish, I'm almost done or whatever. And then he whipped me a couple of times with an extension cord. He really was beating me, but made me feel like, I had to take it for the cause or something.
But Diane isn't the only follower who would face Manson's wrath.
Me and another girl were supposed to drag this one barrel down to a ravine where the dune buggies could pick them up. And we just couldn't get it down. He got violent with me, and he jumped on me and beat me within an inch of my life. When I was down, he kicked me in front of everybody. And everyone was pretty terrified.
As Manson becomes increasingly violent, he also develops an obsession with the Beatles' White Album.
He played it for us backwards, forwards. The Blackbird song, Revolution, and he felt that it was a message about Helter Skelter.
Helter Skelter was a song on the White Album that Manson interpreted as being a sign of an upcoming race war. He believed the lyrics were about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and the other songs on the album, like Blackbird and Piggies, alluded to African Americans and whites.
Charlie felt like they were affirming this black-white race war that was really going to happen, and that, was he supposed to start it?
Charlie preaches that once the war is over, the blacks will prevail, but unable to rule themselves, they will come to him as their true leader. In the meantime, he decides the family needs to gather supplies and find a hiding place in the desert to wait out the upcoming battle.
We needed a little bit of money. And I think it was an influence of an old buddy of his that came out of prison.
By the summer of 1969, Manson has his followers carrying out an array of criminal activities.
Manson had them stealing credit cards, stealing other vehicles that they were converting into dune buggies. There was this criminal activity going on.
During this time, Diane is kept in the dark about some of the family's more illicit activities. So she's shocked when in August, Charlie makes a big announcement. The race wars have begun. He tells his followers they must leave Spawn Ranch and head to Death Valley to hide out.
I got whisked out of the ranch with Tex, and we went to Olancha. And we were to wait there until the rest of the family came.
Once they reach the remote Death Valley Ranch, Tex Watson makes a terrifying confession to Diane.
He had a newspaper, and he shows me the newspaper and Tate murders. And he slaps it. He said, "I did this. Charlie told me to."
On August 10th, 1969, Charles Manson orders 16-year-old Diane Lake, 26-year-old Catherine Gypsy Scher, and his other followers to flee to the California desert.
We're in the middle of a holy war. The holy war is not a game. It's not a win or lose situation.
Diane believes the only reason they're in Death Valley is to hide out from the impending race war, until fellow family member Tex Watson makes a shocking confession.
He shows me the newspaper and he slaps it. And he said, "I did this. Charlie told me to."
Friday night in Los Angeles, a movie actress and 4 of her friends were murdered. The circumstances were lurid.
Soon after, Diane listens in horror as several of her Manson family sisters share their own involvement.
The girls told me their participation in the murders.
They tell Diane that the bloodbath that was supposed to trigger Charlie's race wars started before the Tate murders, 2 weeks earlier, when 3 Manson followers went to find musician and fellow family member Gary Hinman.
Gary Hinman was a musician and a very sweet, very mild-mannered man.
They went out to Hinman's home in Topanga Canyon with the idea of getting Hinman to turn over his possessions.
Manson had heard that Hinman had inherited $20,000, and since he was gathering supplies to hide out from the helter-skelter race war, he needed money fast. But Hinman hadn't actually inherited any money.
The 3 were not getting anywhere with him. So Manson goes out to Hinman's. They get Hinman in the kitchen, and Manson has a sword. So he slashes Hinman, severs his ear in 2, and left a big gash on the side of his face, just an angry wound. And then Manson told Beausoleil to take care of business.
Bobby Beausoleil stabs Hinman several times until he dies. Before they go, they leave evidence they hope will ignite a race war.
Beausoleil had written in Hinman's blood, "political piggy," and done paw prints. We're supposed to be like a Black Panther.
Now they've got a dead man on their hands. And Manson wanted to make sure that this looked like the Black Panthers were involved and what's going to happen next.
But to Manson's great disappointment, Gary Hinman's murder does not trigger Helter Skelter. So 2 weeks later, Manson dispatches Tex Watson, Patricia Krenwinkel, Susan Atkins, and Linda Kasabian to 10,050 Cielo Drive, the home of the man who once destroyed Manson's dreams, record producer Terry Melcher.
But Melcher didn't live there anymore, and the new occupants were director Roman Polanski and his wife, actress Sharon Tate. And Sharon was 8.5 months pregnant at the time. It's unfathomable to think that they were just there at the wrong place at the wrong time.
There was a long, winding driveway, and they all started walking up when they saw headlights. Watson told the women to get into the bushes. Then Watson, with the 9-inch buttline revolver, approached the car, and the driver was 18-year-old Stephen Parent.
Stephen Parent is leaving the property after a 15-minute visit with the groundskeeper. He has never met Tate or Polanski.
So when Watson came up to him, Parent begged for his life. "Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. I won't tell anybody. I'm just leaving. I don't know the people here." Watson shot him 4 times at point-blank range, killing him.
The moment they shot and killed Steve Parent in cold blood, it sort of sent them into a frenzy. Now it's on. No one is leaving alive.
Roman Polanski is in Europe shooting a film, but Sharon Tate is home asleep, along with 3 house guests, hairstylist Jay Sebring, coffee heiress Abigail Folger, and screenwriter Wojciech Frykowski.
Wojciech Frykowski was asleep on the front sofa. Watson pointed the gun at him and said, "I'm the devil here to do the devil's work."
The Manson family drags their terrified victims to the front room of the house.
Watson told everybody to sit on the floor. Jay Sebring said, "You can't have Sharon sit on the floor because she's 8.5 months pregnant." Watson, in response, smashed Sebring in the face with the gun butt and shot him.
Abigail Folger tries to run out, and they just go chasing after her.
The 25-year-old heiress is stabbed to death 28 times.
Wojtek Frykowski tried to run out the front. Susan Atkins stabbed him about 5 times in the leg.
Watson then joins her. Together, they mercilessly stab Frykowski 51 times before moving on to their final victim, Sharon Tate.
Sharon is begging for her baby's life, and they don't want to hear it.
Susan Atkins looked her in the eye and said, "Look, bitch, I don't care about you or your baby." Atkins proceeded to stab her numerous times. Watson added a few of his own, and then Watson hung her from one of the large beams going across the living room ceiling. Dr. Noguchi, the coroner in the case, testified at the trial that Sharon Tate was still alive when she was hung.
Diane listens in horror at Barker Ranch in Death Valley as Atkins and Krenwinkel describe the murders to her.
I remember them all being giddy and gleeful about what they had done. They were almost like, bragging. It was devastating. I mean, I loved these girls. I just couldn't believe that they had done this. Yeah, I still can't believe it.
But the girls tell Diane that the murder spree wasn't over. There was one more house they terrorized before fleeing to the desert, the home of Lino and Rosemary LaBianca.
Lino and Rosemary LaBianca were really nice people. We couldn't find any enemies. They were very happy, very much in love.
The night after the Tate murders, Manson led followers Watson, Krenwinkel, and Leslie Van Houten to the LaBianca house, which was chosen at random. He told them to wait in the car while he went inside.
Now it's the second night, and we're going to do this better. And he's going to show them how to do this.
Manson's helter-skelter race war still hasn't started, and he's determined to make sure that it does.
Manson walked up to the LaBianca house. He was armed with a firearm, but he told them not to worry. This was just a robbery, and that he wasn't going to hurt them. He tied their hands behind their back. He tied their feet. So Manson walks out. He tells Watson, Krenwinkel, and Van Houten to get out of the car. He said, "Don't cause fear and panic like last night, and don't let them know that you're going to kill them."
The bodies of a man and his wife found in their home. Lino LaBianca, a supermarket owner, and his wife had both been stabbed to death.
Shortly after the grisly murders of Lino and Rosemary LaBianca, Manson follower Leslie Van Houten tells 16-year-old Diane Lake how it felt to slay the couple.
Leslie said, the more she did it, the more fun it was.
The public grows more anxious as details begin to emerge from the Tate and LaBianca crime scenes.
At the Tate murders, Pat Krenwinkel wrote pig in blood. And at the LaBianca murders, Pat again wrote pig with the victim's blood.
I believe Chief Houghton indicated, as I did or have in previous interviews, that we do not have anything of a definite nature to state.
They didn't have any suspects.
Would you give us a guess that when this takes place? I'd really settle for that right now. I would too.
While investigators struggle to piece together any leads, Diane has learned that her guru, Charles Manson, ordered his most loyal disciples to commit the brutal killings to jumpstart his prophesized apocalyptic war.
And then I was afraid to leave because if Tex, my big brother, had done this at Charlie's bidding, what's to stop him from killing me?
While they wait for the impending race wars to begin, Manson and his followers continue to hide out at Barker Ranch in Death Valley. With his devotees more isolated than ever before, Manson's grip on them moves from physically abusive to life-threatening.
At one of the circles, I wasn't paying attention. I was scared out of my wits, just not in my right mind at all. And Charlie threatened to hang me upside down and skin me alive in front of everybody. And I really felt like there was no doubt that if I tried to escape, that they would kill me.
The Manson family spends the next 2 months running survival drills and preparing to ride out the impending collapse of society. One day, Manson spots a piece of machinery while walking around the desert.
We encountered this road grader that had blocked the road, and of course, he thinks that, it's a conspiracy, and they decide to burn it.
The burned equipment draws attention from local authorities, and on October 4th, police raid Barker Ranch.
We hear vehicles coming up the road, like more than one, and it was the sheriff's.
I just remember they rounded us all up and put us in a truck.
The girls were arrested right off the bat, and they were looking around, and finally, under the kitchen sink, they found Manson. He's 5'2", and he contorted himself to get under the kitchen sink.
Police are unaware of the Manson family's involvement in the murders, so they are charged with destruction of public property and auto theft.
So we all get sent off to Inyo County. Well, Susan Atkins had a warrant out for her arrest from some other incident. And so they took her to Los Angeles.
Separated from other members of the family, Susan Atkins starts talking to her cellmates and drops a bombshell.
She was in county jail for females, and she bragged about the killings.
She confessed to 2 of her cellmates about the Tate and LaBianca murders, and this wonderful man, this Charlie Manson. These 2 women, independently, they both called LAPD to report what she had said. And that broke the case.
Atkins is charged with murder, but she refuses to cooperate with police. Detectives now begin interrogating Manson and his followers.
I was interrogated for several hours. I didn't tell him my real name. I didn't tell him my age. I just kept the Diane Bluestein thing going. I was scared.
When they questioned me, I just knew that you always say that you wanted an attorney and you never talked to the police.
2 months after the arrest, prosecutors pressure the Manson family members to testify on record in front of a federal grand jury about their knowledge of the murders.
I also knew that if they took you to the grand jury and questioned you, you couldn't have a lawyer there. And if they gave you immunity, you couldn't refuse to answer, or they would have you in contempt of court.
It was my turn to go to the grand jury, and I was in a cell with the other girls. And so they were, admonishing and threatening me, don't say anything.
You're scared, right? You don't want to go to jail. You don't want to get in trouble. But these are her big sisters, and they're telling her, don't say this. Don't say this.
When I got to the bailiff, who, just like you go to the doctor, they, name, birthday. But instead of giving them the answers that they had on their paper, I cracked. I said, my name is Diane Lake. I'm 16. And I want my mommy. And I really did. I really did want my mommy.
Hello, can't handle the truth.
16-year-old Diane Lake, a follower of cult leader Charles Manson, agrees to tell authorities what she knows about the Manson family's role in the gruesome killings of 8 people, including actress Sharon Tate, in exchange for immunity.
I was scared. The other girls were, admonishing and threatening me, don't say anything. I needed to tell what I had heard because it was such.
I will say, he is not a religious cult. He's just a hippie. He was a charismatic hippie that was able to draw people in. He used religion to people like everybody else.
A horrendous event, and the girls had like no remorse.
Charles Manson and his followers are charged with murder.
Sun shining this morning.
On June 15th, 1970, 8 months after the arrest, the trials began for the Tate and LaBianca murders. Charles Manson, Leslie Van Houten,
How do you feel, Miss Crenwick?
Patricia Krenwinkel, and Susan Atkins
I don't even know what I'm here for.
are all tried together. Despite being locked up during the course of the trial, Manson maintained strict control over the family members on the outside by meeting with them regularly during jail visiting hours. Manson orders an array of stunts, and his roughly dozen remaining disciples are more than willing to do his bidding.
Squeaky had been the one that had seen Charlie that day, and she said he wants us to show the world how together we are and how much we love him. I still have scars on my knees from that.
He was able to get his followers to appear every day and do the craziest stunts. I just think it goes to show how much of a spell they were under.
It was a circus.
It's all a play, isn't it? What do you think of this morning's proceedings?
One time he came in, he'd used a razor blade to put an X on his forehead, saying that he was going to X himself out of society. And the next day, the 3 women came in with X's on their forehead. You never knew what Manson and the girls were going to do. It was unbelievable.
I was afraid of what I would think, what I would feel, what I would say when I went to the trial and had to testify against the girls and Charlie. I remember going in to the courthouse, and seeing the girls with the X's on their heads and shouting something at me. I was betrayed them or something along those lines. And I had to look Charlie, in the eye. I kind of steeled myself. I had to not be afraid to look at this man, and see him as the little pimp con man that he was.
After a 9-month-long trial, the jury reached a
The
verdict.
jury hearing the charges against Charles Manson and 3 girl members of his so-called family brought in its verdict this afternoon. All were found guilty of murder in the first degree.
Let's see what this next one called. And this one called Heaven's Gates Court. They probably the last one for the night too. My punk ass getting sleepy.
Your only chance to survive is to leave with us.
Authorities are investigating a mass suicide.
I never walked into a scene that looked like this.
He's a monster. It was 1 suicide and 38 murders.
Be quiet and I'll tell you when you get this, and I'll tell you what you're gonna get.
When?
completely off the rails.
Doe asked if I wanted to be castrated.
We've been away and now we're going back.
A tip from a former member led police to the scene.
On March 26, 1997, law enforcement discovered 39 decomposing bodies in a San Diego, California mansion.
The Heaven's Gate massacre was the largest mass suicide that had ever taken place on U.S. soil.
Among the 39 bodies was that of cult leader Marshall Herff Applewhite. Known as Doe to his devotees, he convinced them that death was merely a portal to a new reality. When Heaven's Gate started, Doe had a partner called T. The two believed they were the second coming of Jesus with a once-in-a-lifetime offer.
We are representative of the kingdom of God.
He spoke with such authority.
We're trying to teach you how to prepare yourself.
I was like a fish in the sea that was caught by the truth.
Their belief was that the kingdom of heaven was a physical place and that they were going to get to go there on a spaceship.
With T and Doe as their personal escorts.
It was Christianity and UFOs all rolled into one. I was fascinated with it.
Frank Lyford grew up in a small town in upstate New York. As far back as he can remember, he dreamed of other worlds.
As a kid, I had a tremendous interest in looking at my numbing job. I wanted to do something that used my whole being.
When he turns 18, Frank meets a girl who shares his longing for more.
Erica. When I met her, I lit up. Erica was the love of my life. We had the same curiosity about other worlds. So we were excited for our future.
But they take it slow. 3 years later, before settling down at an apartment together, the young couple take a road trip to visit Frank's cousin David near Waldport, Oregon.
Shortly after we arrived, David had mentioned seeing a poster. They plastered them all over the town. UFOs, why they're here, who they have come for, when they will leave. You will want to attend this meeting. There was a huge element of curiosity. We drove up to this ramshackle motel on the coast, went in. The room was packed. And then I saw that.
The two individuals were sitting on the stage and just looking at us. All of a sudden, I noticed a shimmering light around the stage, around them, and then around the room.
Sawyer, like Frank, had also been searching for meaning since he was a child.
When I was about 13 years old, my parents asked me what I wanted to be, and I said a priest. I think that I was looking for something to give myself to. Once I graduated high school, I ended up hitchhiking throughout North America. In Waldport, Oregon, I saw the poster on the telephone pole. I was attracted by the idea that these two individuals said that they came from the level above human.
I'm Caldo, and this is my partner, T, and we have a big picture to try to portray. Let's get started. They had come from the kingdom of heaven to usher us into the next level. 2,000 years ago, Jesus was sent for the same purpose, and now he and I were sent again. They said if you didn't take advantage of this time now, you would have to wait another 2,000 years.
The original ideology was that you could attain a higher level of being, and they were going to catch a ride on a UFO that was taking them personally to heaven. And you did not have to die in order to do that. They would live forever.
But the next level requires human individual metamorphosis.
They taught that a creature in the human kingdom could actually become a new creature.
It is the caterpillar becoming butterfly transition.
My ears wanted everything he said, every word.
Follow me. Let me show you what I know.
At the end of the meeting, they said that if I was interested in more information, there were people in the audience that I could talk to.
And he just left.
Applewhite does most of the talking during the meeting, but his partner, Bonnie Lou Nettles, who calls herself T, is the true leader of the mystical group.
When T and I first began to awaken, I wanted to stay in the limelight, but I recognized that T had more experience and that I could learn so much.
Nettles was born in Houston in 1927. As an adult, she becomes a registered nurse and marries a draftsman before giving birth to her daughter Terry in 1953.
My mom and I were very close. We did everything together. She was absolutely my best friend.
All these motherfuckers sound retarded. My bad.
She and I used to talk about reincarnation and UFOs and that we never felt a part of this world. I remember we were outside one day and we saw something in the sky.
Have you booked your flight yet, ma'am?
We hoped that it was a UFO. We wanted it to come pick us up. We wanted to leave.
So Bonnie Lou would read astrological charts. She would hold seances. She claimed to be able to channel spirits. And she did this all in her house with her daughter Terry present.
From 1969 to the early 70s, we saw a few psychics that had made mention that there was another man that was going to come into my mom's life. And the man described appeared to be very similar to her.
Marshall Herff Applewhite was born in rural Texas in 1931. The son of a Presbyterian minister, he got a degree in philosophy and studied theology. He toyed with the idea of becoming a minister himself, but his musical talent led him to become a teacher.
I met Herff in 1972 when I was working at the Houston Music Theater. This was before he met my mom. One day, someone at the theater got hurt and had to be taken to the hospital. So Herff accompanied the head of the drama school to the hospital.
As fate would have it, Bonnie Lou Nettles is the nurse working at the hospital.
They had an instant connection.
Bonnie Lou, you know she white.
All of a sudden, there was something that compelled us to drop everything of the past and search together. From that moment, my life changed.
It was a platonic relationship, just totally spiritual. But no married man would want another man coming into their wife's life. And in 1972, my parents got a divorce. I was 20 years old. I lived with my mom It was just the two of us. One day, my mom came to me and told me that she and her had to find out who they were and what they were supposed to do. It was like a magnet pulling them. I asked my mom if I could go, and she says that that wouldn't be possible at this time. She told me that they were leaving on January 1st, 1973. And
Applewhite and Nettles travel around the country, camping or sleeping in their car. They take odd jobs for gas and food money. As they attempt to figure out their calling, T sends letters to her daughter, outlining their evolving philosophy.
I wasn't entirely clear, but after you finished your tasks here on Earth, you would go on a spaceship and live in a utopian type universe, I guess. She and her for the two witnesses mentioned in Revelations, and people would kill them, but she would be resurrected in 3.5 days. I believe what my mom said because she told me it was true.
2 years later, Herf and Bonnie are ready to start gathering followers. They cross the country and hold public meetings, like the one that Sawyer and Frank attended in Waldport, Oregon.
After they finished speaking, I felt that everything they were saying was true, and I wanted to follow them. I felt like I sat in front of the equivalent of Jesus.
I felt hired and right. Both Erica and I were interested in it equally. Our decision to move ahead was based on gut feeling.
In order to join, all interested recruits are told they must sever past ties and walk away from everything and everyone they know without saying a word.
Have y'all noticed that white people read the same Bible as black people, but they don't really acknowledge the part in there where it describes Jesus as a black man? They don't never acknowledge that part. It'd be very few whites that'll acknowledge it, like the Pope and them do behind closed doors. They'll do. But yeah, they won't acknowledge that shit because they just look at the white Jesus they got in all the photos. They're like, fuck what this book say on his color. We're gonna ignore his color. We're gonna follow everything else in the book. Yeah, I find it weird.
Herf and Bonnie warn that non-believers will threaten their mission and that they must drop out of everyday society in order to reach the next level.
They didn't want to be interfered with. He said, we have to hide. And then said, hit the fan.
Last week, there were reports of people in an Oregon town who gave away all their possessions, in some cases their children, to follow a mysterious couple with the promise of life on another planet.
In Waldport, Oregon, concerned families fear their loved ones have been abducted.
See, in the Bible, it was okay to sacrifice your kids and give your kids away and shit. So, of course, people that followed the book wouldn't see anything wrong with it, even in modern day times. The man just said they gave away all their modern day possessions. Okay, I can understand it. But even your kids, your kids is a modern day possession now? Shit. And again, this is always the argument that I have. You have God that knows this shit is going to happen. And he let these people be led astray and get their kids away. The kids are always the ones that got put out to fuck the adults. They dumb. They didn't use their gift of discernment. The kids suffer because of these dumbass adults. God is okay with the kids being fucked off. He watch it. That's why I always say God watches. He's a pedophile. Watch kiddie porn. He watched the shit. If we're gonna go with the logic that he sees everything, he see these kids get molested by adults. He watches it. He can intervene. He don't. So he's almost as bad as the motherfuckers in the cult that don't say nothing, because the only recourse they got is to kill the leader and everybody else while trying to escape. God actually can just stop the offender and just don't. I'm just saying, like, for a while now, since I've been on YouTube and YouTube was made aware that I was atheist, God is supposed to strike me down according to all the people that don't like me and the believers. I'm supposed to be dead now because I don't believe in God. Then he continues to let me come up every day, and then I just gotta keep pointing out a baby that ain't done nothing getting fucked off. Well, I'm supposed to know better. He could stop me from talking shit about him or her. It doesn't. I get to live until I'm like 90, and the baby just, you know.
Into a cult.
Hey, Sirius.
Couple in Walpole.
I didn't do nothing, Margie.
There's no doubt about that. Police officials still think they're con artists. But what are they after besides people? That's the question that no one can answer yet.
The news almost had it right. Frank, Erica, Sawyer, and a score of recruits had disappeared, but of their own free will. They joyfully moved to a secret campground in Colorado, where T and Doe would help them become next-level beings in preparation for the kingdom of heaven.
When I first got there, we were told that to become a member of Next Level, you transition while conscious and aware.
That's spacecraft.
We thought this would take just a matter of a few months before we would be taken up in a spacecraft. So we were excited.
To begin the training process, new members meet with T and Doe. Frank and Erica are called.
Margie, I don't know what's up with YouTube. Like, when you comment, I can see your comment. Everybody else can like your comment, but when I try to like it and heart it always says unknown error occurred. And it never, that's why when you comment on my videos and shit, I can never like them or nothing. Unless I go to my Petticoat account, but then I can't heart it. But it literally says that every single time you comment on something. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why won't it let me heart Margie's shit? It's really baffling. It's been like that for all. It's been like that all 2020. What do you mean? 2023. Like that all 2023.
Together.
We sat with them up on a windy ridge. I remember feeling uncomfortable being in their presence, as if they were special.
We told them that we couldn't take them on as students unless they were ready to drop all of the behavior that we knew was not common to the kingdom of heaven. Sex being the one that seemed to stand out the most.
We were told that relating to others in your past was off the list. So being in love with Erica was something to be overcome.
In fact, T and Doe split up all new devotees with personal relationships of any kind. They state the only bond between two people should be a mutual desire to get to the next realm.
Of course, we were disappointed, but I saw this opportunity that transcended any relationship that I could have, even with the love of my life.
The fact that Frank and Erica, who were in love, were able to end their relationship at the direction of Tiendo really speaks to how much authority and control they had over these people.
Then we started really getting down to the nitty-gritty.
The followers are given.
Okay, so what you need to do, Miss Margie, is on your device, go to my home page, and then the 3 dots at the top screen, click on that, and then if you got me blocked, it should say unblock. It should say unhide user or unblock, which one of them terminologies. That's if you got me blocked. If not, then I don't know. It's just really, really weird. But if you got me blocked, that's all you gotta do. Go to my home page, and then when you see the 3 dots in the right hand side, click that, and it should say unblock it from block. Cause I definitely don't got you blocked. I just went and I've checked this shit like 100 times since it's always said there. I'm like, I don't know, but I just checked again right now. And it's still like, I don't know. It's baffling.
A document called the 17 Steps, which outlines how a member of the next level should think and behave.
We're like cavemen, and they were trying to civilize us to next level ways.
Can you follow procedures?
Don't prepare any more food. You don't eat.
We only talked if we had a reason to talk.
No catching, no comforting.
They started us on a sleep program, 2 hours sleeping and 2 hours awake.
You have to overcome.
Yeah, I'm baffled at one of these dudes because he said he felt like he had talked to him. He had met Jesus in the flesh, but the Bible you read, Jesus didn't have rules like that. He didn't do that. So just
The human condition.
We were to think of our camp as a craft.
Generally speaking, 95% stupid. That's where they get the deaf, dumb, and blind shit from. It's actually true.
Our bodies were called vehicles.
Just a vehicle, because we don't pay any attention to what the desires are. We say, be quiet and I'll tell you when you get this, and I'll tell you what you're going to get.
They believed in androgyny, so everyone cut their hair short. They said that you couldn't achieve this higher level if you still had these sort of human tendencies, like being sexually attracted to somebody.
When I was in Catholic school, I was a Christian, but I'd be damned if somebody was going to get my booty in the name of God. Not going to happen. They probably got stuck with a Husky pencil, a number 2 pencil, a Scandis. I don't know, something. I'm just not going.
If we had allowed some thoughts of sexuality, we weren't to bring up the word sex, but just say that we had a slippage. And slippage was the same sense of a sin.
Even though they lived under the oppressive rules and regulations, they weren't being held there against their will. They stayed mostly because they were afraid of missing out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that Tiendo were selling.
By 1980, the class, who now call themselves Human Individual Metamorphosis, is completely indoctrinated and ready for the UFO to swoop them up to the next level. They are initially told it will be 4 months, then 2 years, then longer.
The explanation from Tiendo was, all of you in the class are taking longer to prepare, so we have to wait for you.
Then one night, after 5 years of sacrifice and devotion, it seems the wait is finally over.
Tiendo told us that the craft would be coming tonight. We were all hyped. This was the moment we've been waiting for.
It was exciting. We stayed up to the wee hours. but there was no spacecraft that came.
The next day, T&O said we were duped by lower forces who wanted to show us up. We were disappointed, but class members rallied around and said, "We understand. It's not your fault. Let's keep going." It was a groupthink scenario.
The classmates aren't the only ones who are waiting in disappointment. Terry Nettles, now 30, has not seen her mother in close to 10 years.
I just miss my mom. Yeah, that's really all it boils down to.
Then, early one morning in 1984, a call wakes Terry from a deep sleep.
She says, "I can call you back later if you want," because I was still out of it. And I said, "Okay," because I didn't really grasp who it was at first. I stayed home from school that day, cried all day long, waiting for that phone call that I never ever got it.
That feeling of regret is only amplified by what's to come.
In 1985, two of T&O's helpers gathered their class. What they said would shatter the Heaven's Gate belief system and call into question everything that they had been working towards.
Oh, what is happening?
After a solid decade under the rule of T&O, Frank, Sawyer, and the rest of the class are devout followers of their leader's teachings. By now, the classmates live in houses near cities where they can take odd jobs to support the group. T&O live separately and visit the class for scheduled meetings. But at one such meeting in 1985, both are notably absent.
All we've been told was to all come together, but we didn't know what was going on. Until finally they told us that T had passed on. People were crying. I felt like hit in the gut. T&O had been this unbreakable partnership. Now that she's gone, what does this mean?
This is something that is completely unfathomable to everyone in the group because T and Do together were going to escort their class to the next level, and everyone was supposed to live forever together.
Do knows there's one other person who will be as devastated by T's death as he is, her daughter Terry. But it takes him nearly a year before he musters up the courage to tell her that her mother is dead. And even then, he can only bring himself to do it through an audio recording he sends through the mail.
Terry, this is Doe. I guess in honesty, I was chicken about how I heard leaving.
They ain't in her currently can't handle the truth. They was in here a while ago. And you might need to go like they with the it's really weird because like with premieres, they have the regular chat as if it ain't premiering. So why it's premiere, people could be talking like it's not a live chat, and then they got a live chat, and then on here they got the top comments and all comments. So you may need to hit the little what is that little thing? That little gear, and make sure it's not on top comments. Hit the gear, chat filter, and make sure it's on all messages. And now they got it with the Gear Fan Fund, which do the super chats now. They just keep moving shit.
Could affect you. The suffering has been very great for me. I send all my love, Terry. Bye-bye.
They stole my rights. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to talk to her. I didn't get to
Well,
say.
technically, I don't see their comments in here anymore either. They not in the chat no more. Okay, I just scrolled up. I don't see them. So that's probably why. Like it's mine stopping Melissa and Tanya Renee, the first two that I could see. Then James and James being a thought, and Tanya then mad, and yours truly. Yeah, I don't see neither. They go.
Goodbye. I didn't get to tell her I loved her. I didn't get to do anything.
While Terry mourns her mother, Doe adjusts the cult's beliefs to explain her passing. He tells the class,
Try the same process that I told Margie though. Go to their homepage and click them three dots at the right hand and see if you blocked them on accident.
that T hasn't actually died. Instead, she's found another path to the next level by shedding her body. The group accepts his revised teachings, and they even begin recruiting new members, like 24-year-old Gail Mater.
My daughter Gail, she was my everything.
Hey, Gail, you ready? For what? Big day? To entertain you?
She was just my living doll.
Gail grew up on Long Island, New York, but after high school, she moves 3,000 miles away to Santa Cruz, California.
We were in touch with Gail at least once a week, sometimes twice. Everything was wonderful. Life was wonderful. Until it wasn't.
Suddenly, over a month went by without Alice getting any word at all from Gail.
Human parents do not possess the offspring they have. It's a very evil thing for them to think that they are theirs.
It isn't until 10 months later that they finally get a letter from their daughter with a clue.
Mom and Dad, you are probably wondering exactly what I've decided to do with my life. Then I turned it to the other side and I saw the and I saw the UFO flyer. That's when I knew she's involved in something.
So the Maters install a recorder on their home phone and hope Gail calls. 1 month later, she does.
Hi. How you doing? All right. We're worried about you. Why not about coming up for a visit? Oh, you can't be that busy. So what kind of group are you with? Yeah. Oh, that's nice. There's no way I can contact you. You have to contact me? Because I love you so much and I miss you awfully. Don't forget how much I love you.
Never spoke to her after that.
Gail and other recent followers feel right at home in their new cult family. But older members can see that something isn't right with Doe. Without T to guide him, he begins showing some upsetting signs.
After he died, he was heartbroken. He even questioned whether or not he could go on.
I want release from this suffering.
Then Sawyer finds something in Doe's room that terrifies him.
I was just cleaning up one day and I saw this book that I didn't recognize. I started reading it, and it ended up being the book from the Hemlock Society on all the ways to kill yourself. I remember thinking about all the ways that I really didn't want to die.
Doe begins preaching that the only way to ascend to the next level together will be for the group to shed their bodies, as T had, and for their souls to board a UFO when the time is right. To help them recruit more followers, they build a website in 1996, where for the first time they call themselves Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate is considered the first cyber sect, which means they were the first cult that actually used the internet to spread their message and recruit people. Not only did the members make their own website, they were IT professionals who made websites for other people, and they made a lot of money doing that.
Frank's IT job would end up saving his life.
I worked as the software developer. I had this amazing boss. She treated me with respect, dignity, allowing my uniqueness. I remember feeling special. Contrast that with coming back home at night to the classroom experience in which everyone is the same, everyone's a cog in the wheel. And I asked myself, what do I want to do with my life? I had this gut feeling that I couldn't ignore. I had to leave. I had to talk to Doe about it. He said, if you want to quit, you are losing out on your opportunity to become a member of the next level. His arguments spoke to me intellectually, emotionally, but not viscerally. I left the same faith. So gut feeling got me in, gut feeling got me out.
After 18 years, Frank says goodbye to the cult. But
damn, Nicky from New Orleans left after 18 years too. That's a chilling number. 1 + 8, 9, completion. Something else. I'm gonna do the numerology check. I don't know. I'm torn on it because I don't want to be blamed for the side effects that may come from that live. Because if you know, you know. So I'm really debating on if I'm gonna do the whole numerology thing because I don't want that responsibility.
in a haste to leave, he doesn't get to say goodbye to Erica. 2 days after arriving at home, Frank gets a call from the woman he loves.
She was weeping, imploring me to come back to class. All I could say was, I feel like if you could spend some time outside the class. She didn't say anything in response.
Frank leaves shortly before Heaven's Gate relocates to San Diego, where they set up house in a Rancho Santa Fe mansion. It's by far one of the nicest spreads they've lived in. All appears to be great, but not for Doe.
Part of Doe's teachings was that everyone needed to overcome human desires, but he was having trouble getting over his own.
Doe called a meeting and he said that he had a nocturnal emission and that he wants to eliminate those hormones from the system. Doe asked if any of the males felt the same way, and I said yes. And that's when he brought up the idea of castration the first time.
If your eye offends you, pluck it out. If something is so offensive to you that your control is threatened by it,
And why shouldn't you dispose of it if you have that option to do it?
After 20 years of trying to shed their humanity to prepare for the next level, Heaven's Gate cult leader Doe decrees that there's only one sure way his male followers will be able to let go of their sexual desires: through physical castration.
I wanted to be castrated because I wanted to prove to the next level that I was.
For you people, it's to have his balls cut off. He was willing to have his balls cut off. Boy, you gotta be really, really dedicated to cut your nuts off. I'm just saying.
Followers will be able to let go of their sexual desires through physical castration.
I wanted to be castrated because I wanted to prove to the next level that I was a zealot.
Surprisingly, all but one of them.
I think the Bible preaches against zealots. Could be wrong, but I think it preaches against it.
Were on board. They actually saw it as a solution to this problem.
One of the class members is a former nurse and feels confident she can perform the castration without a professional surgeon.
Sterile room was set up in order to proceed with the first castration.
Sawyer steps up to be first to show his level of devotion and loyalty. But there's another classmate who also wants to be first, and so there's this competition between the two of them.
They said, well, you all decide. And so we looked at each other and said, well, let's just flip a coin.
Sawyer lost the coin toss, but in the long run, he was the winner.
I was observing. He was awake, but they had given him local anesthetic. And then they started the first castration. At one point, Doe said, if this doesn't bond us, nothing will. I actually had to hold on. I almost fainted.
At first, the operation seemed like it was a success, but things just took a turn for the worse.
After he was sewed up, his testicle sac was kind of getting bigger and bigger. He was starting to moan and moan. It became an emergency. We took him to the hospital. No more home castration after that.
Sawyer opts out.
Yeah, I just had to Google what the Bible had said about zealots, and then it just was asking why was Jesus not a zealot, and said for another thing, he was at daggers drawn with the Pharisees, meaning Jesus upped the blicky on the Pharisees. He upped that giant and said, who were in some ways the theological wing of the zealots. In fact, they are the only sect whom Jesus curses to hell. Damn. So this nigga wanted to prove to the guy that he said what was the modern day Jesus, that he was a zealot and Jesus cursed zealots to hell. He poured the blicky out on the zealots. Man.
Of having the procedure, but 7 of his classmates, including Doe, go on to have the procedure done professionally.
By 1994, Sawyer opts out of more than that.
I was still engaging in masturbation, and I wasn't reporting it, which was the grounds for dismissal from the classroom.
What's next on our list, Sawyer?
But what about avoiding places that would tempt the vehicle, like bars and clubs?
I know that it's important for us to mention this, but these things is just so beneath us.
I was out of control at that point.
It's still 8 minutes to go, but I gotta point out, at least this weirdo wasn't fucking with kids. So we got 2 of the 12 that we've heard. Well, I got 3 more to go, but so far, 2 of the 9 we've heard haven't messed with kids in the name of God.
And I have no desire to ask for help.
Charlie Manson didn't bring up God at all. This guy brought up God, but he ain't fuck with kids. He just did weird, torturous shit.
Although Sawyer's belief in the cult is as strong as ever, his human desires continue to dominate and weaken him. Ultimately, he can't take it anymore, and he decides to confront Doe.
And that's what I told him. And he said, well, what do you want to do about it? And I said, well, I guess I have to leave. And he said, okay.
In September 1994, after 19 years, Sawyer leaves Heaven's Gate.
Wait a minute now. 2 18s and 2 people that left after 18 years, and you got one after 19. All right.
After I left, I did not want to return.
The Heaven's Gate crew regularly listened to a late-night paranormal-themed radio program.
So buckle down and get ready. A lot of surprises coming up.
In November '96, they're riveted by what they hear.
Indeed, I've seen the photograph, and it really is odd. There is something really big out there.
The Hale-Bopp comet was a large piece of rock and ice that hurtled past the Earth. People around the world were excited for its arrival, but no one more than the members of Heaven's Gate.
Urgent, there is a new and worrisome strange object sighted near Hale-Bopp. What could it be?
So trailing Hale-Bopp was this unidentified object that scientists really had no idea what it was. But Joe was convinced he knew what it was. It was their ride. This was their ticket out. This was their UFO that was going to take them to the next level. So on March 19th, when it passed overhead, they were going to be ready.
Our mission here at this time is about to come to a close. We came from distant space and we're about to return. Planet Earth about to be recycled.
Nobody look high in the bitch.
Your only chance to survive is to leave with us.
By mid-March, they were ready for the comet's arrival. They had packed their bags. They put their IDs in the right pocket. They wore the same black outfits and the same black and white Nike shoes. A lot of people speculated that the group purchased the Nikes because of the company's slogan, just do it. But it turned out the shoes were just cheaper.
And on March 19th, 1997, they began execution of their morbid plan.
We're going to go to the kingdom of heaven, and we're prepared for it. I want you to see the class this.
We're going to heaven. Bible reads suicide. Okay. Like, what book would these motherfuckers read?
Sitting in front of me. They're about to leave, and they're excited about leaving. Zoom in on the patch. See, it says Heaven's Gate awaiting. And that's exactly what that means to us. We've been away, and now we're going back.
Authorities are investigating a mass suicide.
I never walked into a scene that looked like this.
A tip from a former member led police to the scene.
God didn't speak to none of these fuckers. It was 38 people that did. And that guy, the leader 39, God didn't speak to none of them 38 people and say, you being led astray. Don't kill yourself. Don't do it. They was praying to him. They didn't stop praying. They were definitely praying. He didn't tell damn one of them, no, you're being deceived. You just let it happen. So another person got to play with his name. I don't understand it. That's why I left it. I didn't understand it. When I didn't understand it no more, it made sense. I had to leave it.
The odor hit you as you walked through the door, and then we started to find the bodies.
So how did they end? I wonder if they're gonna say I shouldn't stop it. I wonder if they're gonna tell how they ended up going there, because they said the bodies had been decomposed, so some time had passed. They said the smell of the sticks. I wonder how they were alerted to where the fuck these people were at.
Or
maybe I missed it.
Mass suicide. I never walked into a scene that looked like this.
A tip from a former member led police to the scene.
Oh, a tip from a former member. Maybe she had been trying to contact some people she was still fucking with there and hadn't heard from them, and she knew their mission statement, how they were going to go out. Okay. So they did this. See, this is why I got to stop talking.
The odor hit you as you walked through the door, and then we started to find the bodies.
There were bodies strewn all over the mansion. They were found in bunk beds, on windowsills, on wooden planks. The enormity of how many people lost their lives was horrific.
On a table in the computer room, there's instructions on how to kill themselves.
Right up until the very end, they lived by the rules.
Members were to down a mixture of pudding with phenobarbital and vodka, put on a painter's mask to catch any vomit, top it off with a plastic bag on their heads, and get comfortable.
Phenobarbital is going to make you sleepy, and you're asphyxiating yourself with the plastic bag. Lay down, relax, and you should fall asleep fairly soon.
Investigators find a list of names split up into
What the fuck was the pudding for? I can understand the alcohol and the barbiturate. What the fuck was the pudding for? Flavor? And then these niggas choke themselves out. They put plastic bags over their head. Like, where was the, I was about to say, where was the self-preservation? But then, yeah, they took a barbiturate so they should put them to sleep. And like, they had their heads and shit covered. Like, they all put their faces under the cover and laid down nice and neat.
3 groups. It includes instructions on how to clean up the group that died before them.
Take off the mask, take off the plastic bag, clean up the vomit, and then cover them up with a purple shroud over their head.
There was only one person who didn't have a shroud over their face, and authorities assumed that that was the last of the Heaven's Gate members to commit suicide, and that was the nurse.
In the master bedroom, there was only one body in there. It was Applewhite's.
It's a disturbing case that investigators are trying to understand.
When I heard the news, immediately, I knew it was them.
When they started
So he ain't the ex-member that gave the tip.
showing the bodies laying there, you're trying to think, oh God, which one is Gail? Oh geez, it can't be. It was like I was caught in a science fiction nightmare. Then came the goodbye videos.
A number of people expressed some interest in saying something on camera, and I just wondered if you had anything you wanted to say to people.
Well, I just want to let everyone know how lucky and happy I feel to be here. And we're all choosing of our own free will, go to the next level with T and Bill.
It was sickening. She was gone and there was nothing we could do about it.
Couldn't be happier about what we're about to do.
I saw tremendous trepidation, fear.
I just wish that people out there could understand how much we feel and know this is real.
Looking at Erica, I was really hurt.
If only you could have believed. I know. I didn't have to believe. I knew.
I dreamt of her so many times over the months after suicides. I lost a love of my life.
I held the ashes at the cemetery and I realized I was holding my daughter in this box and I was going to put her in the ground. He's a monster. He killed 38 people. It was 1 suicide and 38 murders.
I'm glad I'm alive, but I believe 100% that T and Dodo are the complete second coming of the Father and Jesus.
So
My mom would have stopped it.
Who the fuck told?
She would have said no way. She would never take it to the conclusion of suicide.
My view now is that we all have something unique to give. The Heaven's Gate cult ended up being the antithesis of that.
Heaven's Gates lives on from 2 devoted members who were left behind to maintain the cult's website. So there was 40 members and 38 of them had to die, and they left 2 to keep the website going. Man, I was about to say, really, y'all ain't shit for this People's Magazine for even telling motherfuckers to go there. Yeah, I didn't have to put the fact that they still had a website up. You could just say there was 2 people, 2 devout survivors or whatever. Now you sending people to go to the website. Y'all ain't shit. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 3. Episode 4 is The Sinful Messiah. Episode 5 is The Movement of God. Episode 6 is The Word of Faith. We're going to finish those 3 tomorrow. Sleepy. Had a long day. I watched a lot of football and shit. 5-year-old wearing me out. All that good stuff. All right, y'all. See y'all later on this evening with part 4, I think. Whatever it is. We out.
Whole team shining, we stars, Big Dipper. Get a lot of haystack gang in the sippers. Niggas ain't real, nigga. You gotta feel me, nigga. Smile in my face behind my back, you tryna kill me, nigga. You say you got beef, then what you wanna do? You screaming, fuck me, nah, nigga, fuck you. You ain't hard at me. Couple kick dough, couple robbery. Nigga get extorted, get aborted, he don't pay the fee. Posted in the north, got the 2 to 4 recipe. I be cooking chicken bit, not talking rotisserie. I got all my hater mad, I know that they sick of me. Who the fuck he think he is, motherfucker MB3? I honestly pay him no attention bitching, they up under me. Haters call me Visa cause I'm everywhere they wanna be. Ladies, man, catch me with more honeys than a bumblebee. Say she got a husband, but she always want a subsidy. State gang, true sipper, who these niggas wanna be. I've been getting money since a younger, I've been pushing peace. Stay strapped, gotta watch your back when you're in the streets. Friends turn to foes, never know who your enemy. I was in Detroit, he ain't keep the same energy. West side down the slide, I don't think he feeling me. I was on some demon time, nigga talking about killing me. There no business, let's see all that shit that you gon' do to me. Come outside, why you scared? I thought that you been a G. We don't bluff, we pulling up, we different down in Tennessee. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white square, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white square, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. I got an old school bitch, call her Aretha. Shawty so fine, shawty she a keeper. Smoke that reefer, preferred by the quarter. I do this for my kids, my sons and my daughter. Get treated like a king. Hoes call me sire. One look like Lotto, the other look like Maya. My plug, he ain't playing, he only talking them numbers. I cop it, whip it, and ship it. My money coming in bundles. Different flavors of kush, orange, grape, and apple. If a nigga try me, it's gonna be a disaster. Dope money and bitches, pimp robbers and snitches. It's all in my hood. My homies say that I'm gifted, I really can't complain. Shit starting to change, a product of my environment. Tell me who can I blame? Neck like a glacier, bought my shawty a bracelet. Money go get her, that's why these niggas be hating. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 car. Memphis really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok.